Yeah. I'm at Grace Church Road. I went to Waynesboro to bring this man down to this address. And now he's trying to force his way into a house. I'm afraid to move my vehicle. Just fighting in there.
It's inside the house now?
Yeah.
You have your doors locked?
It's open. I'm in a van.
You need to make yourself safe, okay? Even if you've got to drive away from there to get away from him and close that and lock that door. Do that for me now, please.
Okay, wait a minute.
And boom, here we are.
Hello.
We made it. We finally got here. Hey, you guys. Anyways, thank you guys for all joining us tonight. Yeah, Stepha,
welcome.
can you hear us now?
Oh, I can hear now.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, little bit of issues there, but she rebooted. Or what was it again that you did?
So
you couldn't hear you.
I don't remember. Oh, I turned off my Yeti mic. I turned off my Yeti mic. And magically, I can.
Okay, you guys. Well, thank you guys all for coming tonight. To be honest with you, because we were supposed to do a live earlier, but John from Crime Scene to Courtroom is under the weather. Let's say so. We couldn't do it. So yeah, and so he has a really bad sore throat, whatever going on. So we'll just reschedule it for another time. And then it was just like, hey, Alexa, are you doing a live tonight? Well, wasn't planning on it because
we thought we'd trade one Brit for three amazingly beautiful American females.
Yeah, exactly. And then it just turned into I was like, Alexa said, yeah, let's do one. And then I was like, hey, and then Stepha and Deb joined, and it was just like great. So and Fig, I did send you an invite if you are feeling left out and you want to come on, but I think you have a new messenger or Facebook or something like that. Anyways, you guys, thank you very much for, like I said, joining us tonight. We're going to talk about Delphi, whatever with Delphi, all things that you guys want to talk about. There you go. Hey, who dis? Fibro Critter is in the house. Let's see here. Just giving some hellos first. Hey, Shelly. Deb's in the house. Jess. There's Fagasy. You see the pouty face?
Oh.
Yeah. That's Bab and Miss Dog Lover. Love you, girl. The doggies are doing fine, by the way. The three last update that Miss Dog Lover was talking about. The three.
Good.
Yeah. Sharon Parker. Hope you're feeling a little bit better, Sharon Parker. Alexza's in the house.
She's been through a lot.
Yeah, she has. So prayers to you, Sharon Parker. Grandma, who would be doing something so crazy? I don't know. Not us. Pretty lame over here. Yeah.
Never.
And remember when we thought Miss Grandma Bunny was Grandma Watches? And it just happens to be two.
You did that.
No. Hi, Joan. How are you? Sarah's in the house. Let's see. Who else? Did I say Mustang already? I think so. A Cali girl.
Mustang's always worth a second mention.
What did you say?
Mustang's always worth a second mention.
Yeah, okay. Now everybody else is going to want one too. Hi, Fluzzy B. How are you? Lisa's in the house. Okay. Grandma watches. There's Grandma watches. There she is. Okay. Diamond Eyes. Hi, Diamond Eyes. And let's see. Just scrolling. Seeing the same news. Sleuth's in the house. Hey, Sleuth.
Hey,
And
Sleuth.
JD's in the house.
Hey, JD.
And Phil.
Miss Thang.
Miss Thang. And I think, did I miss anybody? AKA Radar. So now, I haven't seen you in a while. Hey, Radar underneath that.
Did you say Boston Christian?
Not yet. Now I have.
Okay.
Boston Christians in the house. Okay. There's Miss Thing right there as well. If I missed you, I'm sorry. But I think I'm near the bottom here. Anyways, yeah, again, we're going to talk about Delphi, but let's see here. Go ahead and whatever. Let's just introduce yourselves. We'll start with Alexza and then go over to Steph after that. Alexza.
You start with somebody else because I'm sorry. My nose is running.
Is it running? You got allergies? Hi, Joni.
I think so.
Hello, beautiful people.
Aww.
All right,
Stepha. Oh, thank you.
Yesterday, me and Stepha did a live. Stepha wanted an emergency live yesterday. So, yeah. What?
It was an emergency.
It was an emergency. And how is it today? Is it still an emergency?
It's still an emergency. I'm not done. I still got rants in there. Yes.
Yeah.
Me too. I was sitting there listening to you guys and just thinking all kinds of things.
Yes.
Really?
I was
thinking if Adam would just shut up.
Is that what you were thinking? I was thinking, yeah, it means Steph Adam's not around and we were just having girls. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I stole Adam's position. I stole your position.
Hey, you know what? You were amazing. I heard.
I get that a lot. Actually, no, I don't.
When we ended our live yesterday, I called you guys yesterday. When we ended our live yesterday, I want to say congratulations to Melissa because we didn't see it. We were just ending our live, and then Melissa said she was pregnant. So, Melissa, when you see this, congratulations on your pregnancy. And sorry. Anyways, you guys, whatever. Let's get into it. So let's start with Deb. Actually, so yesterday, I think there was a lot of things going on with obviously Richard Allen and them showing the one picture, and I'll bring that up in a sec, guys. With them showing the one picture where he looks like he's basically frail. Or trying to look dirty shirt on, and he obviously has a lot of weight and stuff. Anyways, Deb, start off with you. What do you think about that whole thing that they came out with?
Well, my first reaction, I think, was just like everyone else, was like shocked at how he looked, and also the expression on his face. And so, I was like, oh my gosh. My second thought was, please, Lord, don't let him, be declared incompetent to stand trial, because I want justice, to hit him right in the face if he is in fact guilty, which I do believe he is. That's my opinion. But the dingy shirt and talking about the underwear and all of this, that really made me suspect, because the fact that I do know someone that was arrested, and they had told me that you have to wash your own underwear and wring it out, and this person had to hold on to it while it dried, because you only get 2 sets of whatever. So that made me a little suspicious there. And so then back to the expression on his face, the way he's holding his hand, etc. I did show that to my husband, and I said, do you think this looks like the face of someone who's in psychosis? And he looked at it for a long time, and he said, here's the thing. You cannot tell by a picture if someone has psychosis or if they're schizophrenic. And he said, what it does look like to me, in his professional opinion, is someone who's been under a great deal of stress. So I think that's the only thing that we can legitimately say at this point. I know that his attorneys want to say, that he has psychosis and that he has, schizophrenia type behavior. And there are some similarities there. Delusions and hallucinations are two things that are similarities with both of those things, with psychosis and with schizophrenia. So which one is it? My guess is because he's older, and schizophrenia usually shows up, in the mid to like 24, 26-ish, my guess is that it's probably, if he has something like that, it's probably psychosis. It's not out of the question that he has schizophrenia, because there can be late onset schizophrenia, but it's very rare. So unless he was diagnosed earlier in life with that, I don't think so. It's not something you can actually get rid of. So,
if you do remember, there was speculation early after his arrest that he did spend an amount of time in a facility after the girls were unalived. That's never been confirmed, and with the health care laws in the United States, I doubt it would be until unless it would come out in trial. But that has been speculation from early on after his arrest, as far as there being a mental condition, whether that's just depression or something more, we don't know.
And I think that there was another YouTube creator today, Rick Snay, I think, that mentioned the fact that several suspects have been allegedly in a mental hospital after that incident, and Daniel Pearson was one of them that allegedly was. So we don't know if that's true. That's also a rumor. So until we find out, through a professional, we just don't know. I mean, he definitely is under stress. You can see that.
For sure.
As he should be. Anyone would be.
Yeah, well, he's not there for nothing. I mean,
right.
Not at a country club,
I was going to say, Alexza, let's go to you, because you had called the facility. And so give your experience today of what you were telling me and why the title and the thumbnail says what it says.
No, it was funny because I actually wanted to find out, because obviously, in my 16 years, I do have a little bit of experience with dealing with prisons, and I know how prisons work and everything, and jails too. So when I heard that he didn't have, that he was all stained and poor thing, I said, but usually I know that they're allowed to shower in a lot of facilities. They're allowed to shower 3 times a week. And actually, if they don't even shower, they actually tell them that, if they smell or they see that they're not showering, they actually tell them to shower. So I don't understand this whole thing of, I haven't showered. And also they have a sink inside his cell. So even if he cannot shower because they're denying shower, I'm sure he can clean up in a sink. And I'm sure all of us has, we have all traveled, and maybe we have all used a sink to clean up. So, give me a break. Sorry, I have no sympathy for him. So I called and I said, let me just call. So I called like 6 times, and the first few times they hung up on me. As soon as I started to explain, they thought that I was media, and then boom, hang up. And I'm like, so I at one point I was already upset because the lady kept hanging up on me. And I was like, listen, I am not media. I'm like, I'm not a YouTuber. And so I gave my credentials. They're like, okay, and I explained, listen, I don't want to find that. I don't want to talk about RA. I just want to ask you a couple questions, if you're willing to answer them regarding prison. And, I said, and I explained, I have experience, blah, 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 blah. And they said, sure, we can do that. And before I go into that, they actually said that there's actually people, not only a lot of people calling, asking for Richard Allen, but he said there's a couple people actually pretending to be his wife. So they want to speak to him or want to get information. So I was like, that's what I told Sonia. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe how crazy people are to get information. And actually, she actually confirmed, and she actually said the same thing, that they give them the underwear. And like you said, like they get 2 sheets, In the winter, they get like a heavier coat if the facility thinks so. They get 2 underwears, they get 2 undershirts, and if the undershirt is stained to the point that they cannot get the stain out, actually they will reissue and another shirt. So this whole stain situation, I don't know where it's coming from. I think it's just, oh, look at me, poor me. I am being violated. And I just want to say something. I do understand that this happens because I have seen places where, let's talk about it, prisoners do get abused. Don't get me wrong. I do believe that in some cases it's true. In this case, to me, honestly, I don't believe it. And I know we're going to get into that. And I know it's going to be a little controversial. But I just don't believe, I think this picture is just a photo op to say, what, for me and my mental stage. Of course, don't forget, killers go, sorry. Case go through, usually they go through 7 stages. They go from the aura phase to the stalking phase. They go through phase, and the final stage is depression. That's why most of them, because when they finally realize what they did, a lot of them, they fall into that. And a lot of them have hallucinations. A lot of them go into psychosis. A lot of them have those breakdowns, because there he is, 5 years living his life. He finally gets caught. Now he's in there and the charade is over. Right. And now he's really like, everything is setting in what he had done. So of course he's going to feel like that. And of course he's going to lose weight. Who wouldn't lose weight?
Look at Alec Murdoch.
Yeah. Look at him.
Well, I think a lot of people have made, this comment as well, Matt. He was a heavy beer drinker, according to everything that people have said. And he's not drinking beer every day. So he's going to lose weight. The other thing is that there's been talk that the other inmates are yelling things at him and yelling down the hallway that his food has been spit in or urinated in, etc. And so I'm thinking, okay, how would I deal with that? I would not want to eat anything I couldn't wash off. So he may only be, eating an apple or, whatever, skipping the mashed potatoes, and so maybe that's why he's gotten thinner. It could be just depression and not wanting to eat.
Yeah, I mean, how many, we don't know, what I think it's, everything is setting in. He's finally realizing what he has done. And this is pure stress. You can see his face is just pure stress.
Right.
I mean, he sat there for 5 full months, I mean, it's almost a half of a year he has sat in that cell, really with, not a lot of, movement in any direction. Towards about the case, so
sitting with his son,
family thing.
Grandma watches, says that looks like the ramen diet. It very well be.
I'd like Stepha's opinion on it.
Can I speak my piece?
Yeah.
Okay. This is my thought. I don't hear why he is having these hallucinations. If he's having them, he's delusional. I am concerned because we do not want him to end up having to go to the mental hospital and be held up for not being competent for trial. So everybody's saying, oh, yeah, he deserves it. He did this. I agree. But, honey, I want a trial. So whatever it takes to keep this man sane, I'm about it. You got to send him to that other county? That's fine. Whatever. But let's get him sane. Let's get whatever antipsychotic, whatever he needs, whatever therapy, whatever it takes. Now, I don't mean putting him in the Hilton. I'm just saying, let's do what we need to do and give him, basic mental health, whatever it is. And just because they have a psychiatrist there, not everybody gets to meet the psychiatrist. They do when they first get there. But this guy is, he is, I don't remember if they said delusional or psychosis. And I'm with you, Deb. Well, schizophrenia thing. Schizophrenia, as you said, is usually in your 20s. But schizophrenia and psychosis, they present the same symptoms.
Right.
I know that some of you know that have been to my channel that I do or was doing mental health, and know that I have a daughter that has mental health issues. They will not diagnose you under the age of 18. So she was having delusions and hallucinations. Her official diagnosis at that time was major depression with psychosis. There was no schizophrenia, whatever, but her diagnosis once she turned 18 was bipolar. And occasionally, if her meds are not right, she will still have hallucinations. And but she's able to verbalize that now.
Mhm.
She couldn't verbalize that. So with that said, I know that there's got to be, just because they may have put him on a medication when he first got there, it might need to be changed. He might need his dose up. He might need another antipsychotic, whatever it takes. Let's just get the guy to trial, because there is a possibility if he is not mentally stable, there's a possibility he may never be considered competent. And that almost happened with the Lori Vallow case. So that's just my opinion. So I know everybody is like, oh, let him do this, let him do that. I disagree. I'd like to see the man go to trial and be held accountable for what he did to those girls. So, okay.
But the problem is that I have, is it real psychosis? Is it real depression? Or is it that this is being used as a photo op?
Right.
Or is this the way that the defense wants to go? Because I have seen that too, that they want to say that he's incompetent, so he doesn't go to trial.
Right, because it drastically changes the type of living, the living arrangements he would have once he goes to prison if convicted. I mean, there's, I think it's completely different sides of the spectrum as far as your conditions, because if he's depressed now, he won't be any happier if he's put in, regular prison cell.
Right.
And right now he's not with everybody. He's in isolation from the regular public, from the general population.
Right. But do we decide, or does a forensic psychiatrist decide if these are real?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
So I agree.
Let's do what we got to do to cover all our bases.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's not just say, "Oh, nope, sorry, dude. We know what you did, and you're just gonna just lay there, and that's too bad." I just don't believe that, and I say we do whatever we got to do. That's just my opinion.
But when I asked,
I'm sorry, Alexa.
No. Quick. When I asked the person at the jail, they actually said that they do have the mental facility. They have the staff for any mental health issues. That I think he comes 3 times a week. They said it was a he apparently, and they said that if any inmate believes that he's lawyer or he's believe that they need to see, they would get him an appointment and see it. Obviously, we didn't discuss particular because obviously they won't give me any information. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, don't you think? And this is where I have my doubts. I mean, everybody knows how famous this case is. We know the whole world is watching. Do you honestly think the jail is going to risk not getting this man to trial? And don't you think that everybody's watching this carefully, that if the jail does anything wrong, they know that they're going to, the whole world is going to watch, and everybody's going to go on top of them and be like, why are you doing that? You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's not happening, because it could happen, but I just don't see it. I just think that this is just a defense. This is just
so my question would be this, if John has been exhibiting these signs, I would assume that there's a procedure or a protocol within this facility that triggers, when someone needs to be assessed by the mental health professional that comes to the facility. And, I would assume that soiling all of the things that were said in this article would be things that would trigger that. I found it interesting in the court documents that his lawyers used yesterday's date as the day they, fully became aware of this. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to know, what steps were taken prior to yesterday or the day before. I mean, to try to improve the conditions he was living under, if they felt this way.
Mm-hmm. And why is the defense? Why are you waiting 5 months? Do you not want this is my thing. Prosecution knows, that they know that what's happening. And so does the defense. Does nobody want this man to go to trial? That's my thing, including the defense. Nobody, and the prosecution. But there was something important that I wanted to say. Oh, this was it. There is, just because a doctor orders you to take medication and certain treatment, you have the right, patient rights, to refuse. So that is also a possibility. A psychiatrist may have ordered a specific treatment and medication, and it is possible. It happens a lot, whether you are in a mental facility or at a jail or at just a regular citizen getting treatment. You have the right to refuse the medication and treatment. So that's also played in my mind too. There's so many variables. But if what is being said is true, I just want to make sure, for the love of God, that we do whatever we got to do to make sure this man gets to Carroll County courts and is held accountable for what he did to these girls.
Exactly. I agree 100%, Stepha. But also, we have to keep him alive. So it's going to be a fine line. Is it more important to move him, or maybe they can just improve the situation, get him some mental health care where he is, if he's safer there? But that's got to be in play too. So it's kind of a catch-22.
Boston said, Stepha, what if the state court ordered, many people are, meaning like they ordered him to get treatment? They can order that, but he still has the patient bill of rights to refuse the treatment and the medication.
Yeah.
Right.
And somebody, I think it was also Boston, somebody asked, or maybe, I think it was Boston, asked about, could it possibly be him detoxing that made him look like he is? I don't think 5 months.
No, too far.
Early on, that could have been the case, but it's been more than 5 months. So I don't think that would still be in play.
And they give them Valium when they get there for the first 4 days so that they don't seize and when they're going through detox. But it's only 4 days. It's not, 5 months in that you start hallucinating or such.
Copper Horse says a judge can court order involuntary medications.
They cannot push it down his throat. That is a federal law. You can never ever put it down a patient's throat.
I would think if he were declared mentally unstable or a detriment to himself, then they could do that. Give him medication.
Even in a state mental hospital, you cannot put it down a patient's throat. Now, if they get wild and crazy, you can give them an immediate acting shot, but you cannot make them take the medication. And I know it's scary, but that is how our country is.
Right.
So Boston's saying, where did it go here? How tough detoxification can be. Well, right. And maybe what Boston is saying is that that's what caused him to look this way. Not that he's still detoxing, but that it had a long-lasting effect. I don't know.
I'm sure the guy could use a drink.
Well, I think by now, I don't think he would have any withdrawals or anything. That would have been in the first probably month or so. By now,
but it might have taken a
physical physically, yes, of course, yes.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And yes, Lisa, Ron Logan was my pen pal.
So I was thinking about, if in fact this is just a ploy by attorneys, what would be their reason for doing this? Obviously, to gain sympathy for him, because 99% of the population doesn't have sympathy for him at all, and that affects potential jurors, right?
Yeah.
Did you
look at what he does for an appeal?
Right. Yeah. So that would be one thing, is to gain sympathy for potential jurors, and also they might be positioning him for a guilty by reason of insanity. Does Indiana have that? I can't remember.
But he wasn't insane when he did it.
We don't know.
Right.
We don't know if he was or not. I mean, I don't think he was, but we don't know that he was.
Right.
And the other
he
thing,
claimed that he always had hallucinations, and that's why he did it.
yeah, temporary insanity or something. I don't know. That was just a thought. And then the third thing is, are they trying to buy more time by pleading that he's incompetent to stand trial, to buy more time for him and also for them and also for the public to cool down? So those are the things I came up with. And anybody think of any other reasons why they might do it?
Right.
Yeah, I think the main thing is sympathy. Is sympathy that they want. This is exactly what they want. Oh my God! Like Stepha's reaction yesterday is exactly what I heard. Everybody that I was talking, everybody had the same reaction, and I get it. And some of them were actually, because I mean, Stepha at least reasons and sees, he's guilty, but a lot of people were like, oh my God, they cannot violate his rights, and I get it, But this is exactly what they want: sympathy, poor guy, and also to cool down. The more we can stretch it, don't forget. Our brains are not meant for memory. They're meant for survival. So long memory, it doesn't exist. We're meant for survival. So the longer we can stretch this, the less details we're going to remember.
Just quickly, guys. So Miss Thing said a prisoner at Westfield just sued and won. Hello, husband. Regarding the conditions there. Kennedy, thank you, sweetie. Thanks. Kennedy J. Vermillion. Now that's funny because that Vermillion name, there's a 20-year-old boy that's in prison because of homiciding a girl, I think his girlfriend or something like that. I wonder if it's a relation because it's the same last name. But anyways, won a $400K lawsuit for improper conditions. Taxpayers will pay the price. We all know that stuff goes on there, but I'm just thinking it's a high-profile case. A high-profile case. They're just really trying to keep him, from hurting his own self. And obviously, you get a kind of more of a little bouncy room so you don't harm yourself. And for me, I don't even care if he's eating caviar and freaking lobster. Just get the man to court. Well,
Amen. That's where I'm at.
Todd just said, is this an issue that has been reoccurring with inmates in that jail? And of course, we know that Ron Logan claimed that they treated him in a similar fashion, taking his false teeth and giving him, hard food to eat, taking his clothing, making him sleep on a cold, hard floor. And I also today, I haven't had a chance to look into it, but I heard rumor of another situation like that. Maybe there was a court case that someone sued because of their treatment while in that facility. So we know how it's supposed to go. We know how prisoners are supposed to be treated according to the law, but we also know that it's people who are working in there and things happen.
And especially, I tell you from my own experience that I have seen that especially prisoners or inmates that are there that have done things to children, they don't get treated very well, but even by the guards. And I have seen and I have heard, people, let's say banging into things really badly by the guards because and treating them like really poorly because of that. And of course, who are they going to believe? Are they going to believe the guards? And that's just the way it is. It shouldn't be like that. That's like that said, but that's how it goes. So, but the only thing I find this hard to believe in this particular case is because of how everybody's watching. I don't know if they would risk, doing this type of thing when they know everybody's watching.
So I have a thing. So I was. Let me just quickly say this,
Go ahead.
and then I'll let you guys have the podium there. So when I was watching this news clip on this yesterday, it had said that basically that the prosecutors are fine with it and blah 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 blah, but Carroll County wasn't fine with it. Yeah. So that they didn't want the transfer. So I found that.
Who's in charge of Carroll County Jail now? Does anybody know that?
And why did they get it? Why did they get a say so? Honestly.
Yeah. Why do they get a say?
I was curious by that yesterday.
I think that because it's their facility and they know whether they can handle that or not.
But remember, that's why he went to Westfield.
Yeah, because
they felt like they knew Carroll County couldn't. They couldn't house him in Carroll County because of of the facility. I think it holds 35 people, and they knew they couldn't handle it. So that's why they're now talking about Cass County. But that's why he went to Westville in the first place.
Isn't Tobe in charge of that jail now?
Is it Liggett?
Liggett.
Yeah, Liggett, right? Yeah, that's what I
They get good.
Tobe is in charge of maybe the Delphi one.
I'm not
He's
sure.
in charge of one of them. Let me look that up.
That'd be a question for another YouTuber.
Let's call JLR. Call a friend.
Okay, call him right now, Stepha.
I know my feelings on the whole situation are twofold, because I think that of course he's depressed. I think they're making a mountain out of a molehill, but I think that it's for multiple reasons. I think that optically, it sets up sympathy. I think that it opens the door for better conditions if you were to get sentenced, and that be a part of the sentencing. I also believe that it opens the door for if he gets convicted, and he also could.
I lost Adam.
I thought
it was me. I was like, oh my God, am I lagging again?
No, he's frozen.
Oh, that's funny.
Adam got stuck.
Okay, while he's frozen, then I'll just ask this.
Sorry.
Do you know, Alexza, if there's such a thing as a medical bond?
What was that? Sorry?
Do you know if there's such a thing as a medical bond? I know they want him to be able to bond out. Is there a medical bond?
I don't know if this. I don't know if, but I don't think with murder. I'm sorry.
No, they put him in an infirmary.
With M, I don't think they're allowed to though.
They could put him in the infirmary if he was really sick, but they can't.
They can't bring him out. Not with those charges though.
We're sending him home with home care.
Can I finish really quickly? While I said that, at the same time, I believe they should give him everything he's asking for, so that it sets the stage as evenly as possible, so that everyone stands the best chance for Libby to get justice. So go
ahead. Oh, you're free.
A lot of BS. Give it to him.
Yeah, I think that they should give him everything that he's legally supposed to have. I don't think that he needs everything he's asking for. I think that they need to give him everything that he's legally supposed to have, and the legal type of care that he's supposed to have, and keep him safe.
Can I ask a question? Why would so actually the prosecution wouldn't have any problem doing transferring. Why would Carroll County say no? Does anybody have an idea why?
No idea.
Or speculate? Why would they? I don't know. I am trying to break my head. Why would they say no?
I think
they're not the brightest stars in the sky.
Keep him safe.
That's what I was thinking.
Too close to home. Yeah.
I think it's ego. I think it's ego because they couldn't take care of him, and
that's
now
what I was thinking.
Well, what does chat think on that one? I think it's because like he's safer where he probably is, to be honest.
Well, that was the whole reason he went there, right? Because that was the place to be.
But Carroll County said, hey, we can't take care of this guy. It was them that said that. And you remember, because they came in and said, hey, judge, we can't do it. And so the judge recused himself.
There's also probably the emotional aspect of, people in Carroll County, they're the ones that, have, literally lived this case day in and day out since February 13th, 2017.
Yeah.
So, they might be thinking like like some of us are, that, what?
Like a conflict of interest.
No. Why should we give that to him? Let him sit where he's at.
Gotcha.
I have a question. Does anybody know how far Delphi is to where he's at now?
I think it's a little bit over an hour.
Oh, that's not bad. So the whole family thing, do you guys think that's true? That he's not allowed to see his family?
Honestly, I think it's just a big act, really, to get him over to Cass, where his lawyers are and stuff. I honestly don't give a crap where he ends up. As long as Abby and Libby get their justice, like I said, I don't care if he's eating like lobster and caviar. I just want Abby and Libby to have, him to have his day in court, and justice, to take its course the way, hopefully it should. But yeah, that's my say, and I'm sticking to it.
Can the defense get in trouble for putting a legal document out there that's just lies? We need an attorney in here. If they just made all this up, like as far as his
It
living,
wouldn't be a way to prove how it's their wording. You know what I mean? They
Right.
can't prove it.
like the family, they can prove that the family was not allowed to come, which I would never understand why, because I would think, like, as far as phone calls and all of that, they would want that because they'd want those recordings. You know,
But-
like
Yeah.
it just doesn't make sense.
Could it be also that maybe the wife doesn't want to talk to him?
Right.
And now they're
There could
taking
be-
that as, oh,
That-
nobody's calling him, you know?
It could be twofold there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Possible.
And,
Yeah.
and you know, even if you weren't, I'm curious if, you know, in Westville, even if he wasn't suffering from mental health issues, if he is in, you know, isolation, which, you know, given, you know, which is for his safety. But I believe if you're in isolation, are you allowed in-person visits? You know, even if General Pop is, you know, because he is still a county inmate, you know, awaiting trial in a state facility.
But he's
Is
not
he
a
in
prisoner.
Is he in isolation, or is he in an individual cell? So
I think he's in an individual cell.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what I mean, but you know, not
but
he's
still,
you know,
yeah.
he's not among the general population.
Mm-hmm.
Good question. And we don't know
Hour a
who's on
day.
Suicide Watch. We
But
don't know.
But
Right.
at least he should have phone calls.
I heard he has
Oh, an iPad.
like an iPad
Tablet.
Mm-hmm.
tablet.
Nobody's putting money on it.
Like KK, basically. Like the
Well,
shrinking-
that's the other thing. Is anyone putting money on his books there? You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because actually that's what they said. They gave me a list, and then actually you can buy soap. You can buy extra soap. You can buy extra things for your personal hygiene. So
You buy extra underwear.
Yeah, you can.
no, because that's provided.
Yeah.
But you can't like buy it, so you have like 7 pairs of underwear.
No, I think they give you
Well-
3. No, 3 or 4.
And also when, you know, that brings me to another thing that makes me suspicious, because from what I understand, the research I've done, that you do a couple times a week, get clean uniforms, clean underwear, all of that. And that sometimes it's not even your size. It may be
Right.
too small or too big. So you try to find another inmate to connect with. So, you know, I just don't buy that he's, you know, only has this underwear that he's had for 5 months and never taken off. Maybe he's choosing to only wear that.
Right.
I don't know.
It's weird. I just want to know the truth, and I
No,
want to know.
because why wouldn't he complain because imagine, you know, I would complain after a month. I'd be like, excuse me, I've been wearing this thing. Why not? Why does he go wait 5 months?
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
This emergency that happened 2 days ago, you know,
days
ago,
that they
right?
became aware of 2
It's
days
an
ago.
it is an emergency.
Yeah.
It is an emergency.
The timing is suspect. That's for sure.
And the picture is just, as soon as I saw the picture,
Yeah,
I was
like the pose, even the posing with like the hand, like
Maybe he's
Yeah.
pissed that they're not from the crime scene underwear. Maybe he's pissed about that, to be honest. I think, you know, because some of that was missing from the crime scene.
Okay, Radar says county jail doesn't provide undies, socks, shoes, etc.
I thought they did because I got a list, but I'm trying to find it.
Right. I would say, you know, honestly, I think the truth of it all is probably somewhere in the middle of what all of us are saying. You know, like with what Steph is saying and with Alexza, I'm
Yeah.
sure the truth lies somewhere in the middle there.
somewhere in
And I bet
between.
there, you know, there's something there that they've exaggerated into something else that they're
Yeah.
now using for their benefit and for the original purpose.
Shelley says he could buy extra underwear and other clothing.
Right. Because he does have a constitutional right to mental health care while awaiting trial. In every state in the United States, you have that right under the eighth Amendment of the Constitution.
Hi, Tom. Mhm.
Well, that's our rights, but do they really get what they say? Like my mom is a nurse too, and she worked in the prisons and jails, and she worked in Ohio as well as Florida, and she has stories of how other, like the nurses and doctors that were there, how they treated the inmates, and she hated it because
Right.
when you take an oath as a nurse, like it doesn't matter if you are a murderer, a child molester, it doesn't matter. You still have to give them the exact same care. You take an oath for that. And that's not how they are treated. Prisoners are not treated.
And I
Some of
understand
them are treated like that because of who they are.
Yeah, but we're not supposed to do that in the medical
Supposed
field.
to, of course not. Of course not.
So, like she would, she's like, they'd have like a horrible headache, and you knew they were like throwing up, and then they'd just ask for Tylenol, and then they'd be denied. Just stuff like that. And that's just from like a little nursing standpoint. I'm not talking about like being out there with the guards. I don't even, I've never been in a prison, thank God. I've never been to a jail, thank God.
So far.
Yeah. Praise the Lord. Let's just make sure that never happens. I have no.
I have a friend that's a psychiatrist on Rikers Island with inmates, and I believe that I think there in a lot of facilities you could argue whether or not the inmates are held under are humane or not, but that all depends on what your definition of humane is. And I think that probably is different in every state. But I mean, if these things are in place, why aren't they being facilitated, for him? If he can't mentally do it, why isn't someone else bringing I think someone said that a mental health person comes 3 times a week to Westville. So are they evaluating him, or have they seen him? Those are all things I think that we need to know from the facility.
Yeah. Carol has a good point. She said,
excuse me, please.
I'm sure they would pay attention if you were so polite. Okay, I don't know what that is, but she says basically he's not been convicted of anything at this stage. Everyone needs to be treated lawfully and humanely. Exactly. I agree with that. They don't need to be abused or, something done to them or not done that they, do need. They also don't need to be coddled to and.
What the hell happened?
What is going on in that one?
My God, my thing.
Alexa's like wall just fell down.
Yeah, the whole wall just fell out.
I
Alexa,
think she's
did
in
you
one of
hang
the
that
kids'
picture?
rooms.
Can we have that on replay, please? There was a Mona Lisa, I'm sure it was.
So
someone pissed off a ghost.
like what happens next? Like, okay, this was an emergency. How long do they have to respond?
I would think
these
you
are the
would hear
questions
something back tomorrow. I would look to hear something back from
This
the judge
week, yeah.
tomorrow.
They're going to move him. Don't you think? I mean, they're going to move him.
They're going to move
Not
him.
tomorrow. It'll be Monday.
Well,
I see little reason to not I think that there's little reason to not approve the motion to move him. The prosecutor wants it. The defense wants it. Go for it.
Yeah, move the guy.
Yeah,
I'll pick him up in my little Honda. I'll move the guy. Just kidding. I would not do that. But
you good, Alexa? I think it's because Chaotic came in and she used her voodoo spells. Or
No, it's just because I pushed the chair back and the whole thing.
oh my.
Hold on. Let me try.
I've seen the same question a couple times, so I'm going to go ahead and read it here.
Yep.
They want to know, Alexa, did you ask the lady at the prison if it was true that the police reports delivered by his defense team were withheld from Richard Allen?
I've done that.
And now I've just real quickly before she answers whether she asked, I've heard now Ruckus was talking about that today, and he said something about
They
that
can't
they
have it.
wouldn't allow him to have that because of potential for hurting himself with it.
Yep.
No paper.
Cuts?
Yep, no paper.
Yeah.
Mhm.
However,
So again,
could they not let him see it and read it in front of a guard?
I would think so.
Yeah.
so again, I think that they could be using something that's a formality, and they're using it to their advantage because it fits the narrative they're trying to.
In solitary confinement, he is not allowed anything in the cell. No books. I think it's Terry is considered cruel. And that's the reason that he has a mattress on the ground, because they're not going to put any kind of hardware or anything in there that he can injure himself with.
And that's why he would be having delusions and hallucinations, because you put somebody in isolation for that longer period. And I'm sure everybody heard me yesterday. 24 hours in isolation will make people start having delusions and hallucinations. And this guy's, if it's true, and he's been in isolation away from people for 5 months, I don't know. And then somebody said, well, what do you think you should do about Steph? And I'm like, I don't have the answers, but I think we should figure something out, you know, and you know, there has to be answers, because he's not the only guy. You know what I mean? Like, other people go in isolation too. So, but I know that they don't like to keep them. Like, if they are, if they're already been convicted and prisoners, they get in trouble. You know how they send them to segregation or whatever it's called. They don't want them to stay there more than 2 weeks, and those are for convicted prisoners. So why is this guy off by himself for 5 months?
For his safety, because if he were to be housed with the other inmates who have been convicted of a crime, he as a innocent has not been convicted of a crime yet. So I mean, it would be it could be considered inhumane to place him, physically with people that have been convicted of a crime.
That I understand, like, not put them in general population, but I'm saying, like, okay, like the death row inmates, they all have their own, like, they kind of have it good, they say, like the death row inmates, because they all have their own cell, but they have a life in that cell too.
Hold on a second. People are in the chat saying we can't hear.
They are?
Yeah.
Crimezilla saying, oh yeah.
Who can't? Can anyone hear us? Yeah, we're not having any issues.
We had
Anybody here?
two people say that.
Right.
Blurring, freezing.
I can hear. Some people can hear. I can hear.
Maybe it's YouTube. Is YouTube glitching? Because
Maybe.
Yes, you guys can hear.
Yeah,
I got you now.
You're freezing. Other people are saying they're freezing.
If we're freezing for you, try to refresh the stream. Just try to refresh the you're listening and watching.
Copper Horse says everything is fine. Lisa
Yeah.
says everything
I believe
is fine.
Copper Horse.
I do too.
Yeah, okay.
Tom Webster, and this is what you should do if you're having problems. Reload the page. And then the video went out 2 minutes ago, he says.
We actually did that just for Tom.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But
And Tom has to
Kennedy
pay
says, Tom, $100 an hour.
Yeah. So it just must to be a YouTube StreamYard thing or whatever.
Okay,
StreamYard thing.
Crimezilla can hear now. She's good.
Okay, that's good. That's weird.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of storms and things around, so who knows?
Yeah.
It was Alexa's ghost.
Yeah, I know.
What did you start?
They stay. Hopefully it stays.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're just going to take a moment
I'm
to
trying
think
to
about
find you the thing that where I saw the how many the underwear and the clothes, but I can't find it, and I know I just read it because they send me some. Where is it? Hold on, so I can send it to you, and you can.
Oh, Tom asked what Richard Allen's attorneys were making per hour. I thought he was saying that he should pay us $100 an hour.
That's what I thought.
Which is a much better idea, I think.
Tom would appreciate that.
Yeah. Either that, Tom, or give us your recliner chair. One of the two. It's a little bit selfish, actually, of Tom to keep that recliner.
Sorry, Tom. Carol says he can't be the only person that has been or will be in this position. It could be you or your loved ones anytime. It needs to be addressed. He has not been convicted of a crime. That's true, Carol.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Miss Dog Lover wants us to repeat everything we've said for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you want to
I think if we're really we're his mental health and his safety. Cass County, if that is not a great place, there is an in-facility treatment place in Logansport, I looked up, and there is one also in Wabash, Indiana. Delphi has an outpatient one, but the two that have inpatient are Wabash and Logansport that are closest. But I think they'll move him to Cass County.
Yeah. I have a little trivial thing. For all of you non-Indiana people, it is not Wabash. It's not Wabash. It's not Wabash. It's
Wabash.
Wabash.
Wabash?
Who was saying
today I heard somebody say Wabash or Wabash or something today. I was like, well, no.
Right. People still say Delphi.
Yeah.
Oh, that drives me crazy.
Delphi. Me too.
Like, how long has this been on like national news?
Right, Diamond.
I don't think
like the Wabash Cannonball.
Just quickly, Todd wants to ask us all: is there anyone on the panel that believes in RA's innocence?
I don't think he did the actual homicides. I think he was a
participant. Yeah, that he.
I think he did the actual homicide.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. I do.
I do.
Adam does, and Alexza, do you?
Yes, I agree. I don't know if he planned the whole thing, but I think he did it.
Right.
Yeah. I'm kind of still torn on that one. I don't believe he actually did it himself, but he could have. I'm not sure, to be honest with it. I mean, we know that there's a bullet casing of his that's found between the girls, and that's him on the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So either way, I just think that there's more than just him.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I don't think there's more than him involved in the whole thing, but the actual committing the act, I think he did.
Yeah.
Really?
I think it's just because I cannot, I know Alexza is gonna, I know that she has her own thoughts on this, but I just cannot picture this small little Humpty Dumpty dude, even though I guess he probably wasn't Humpty Dumpty at the time, but I just can't picture him planning this whole thing out, leaving this crime scene that that there's a lot of physical evidence to. We've heard it enough times. I just can't see that with him for some reason. Maybe it's it's not like it's implausible. I just am having a hard time seeing it.
And that's why I say you cannot, if he cannot plead the guilt, insanity case, because insanity, when you are actually insane, you don't have the reason, you don't have no reason. The reason inside the brain is not even working at all.
Right.
So he knew that he had to turn his car around for his license plate. Why didn't he kill all those people he saw in front of him?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's not insane. That's not insane. Insane. There's no reason. You just do stuff right then and there, and there's no there's no trying to clean up stuff. Nothing. No planning. So that's why I know it's not he cannot plead insanity for the crime, but he can do this other BS with being incompetent.
Right, which would really take the biggest effect if he were to be convicted, and plus he's already pleaded, so he's pleaded innocent, so they would have to change the plea, they would have to do a motion for a new hearing, so I don't think this is an attempt to do an insanity plea. I think that this is an attempt to have his mental state on the record, so that when it comes time to sentencing, that's taken into account or set for an.
And it gets sympathy from the public, and sympathy for the judge and jury.
Yeah. Adam, sorry, Deb. Deb, when you're done, Adam, will you answer that question for Tom? But go ahead, Deb.
No, I'm done. That was it.
Yeah, I think that they're trying to get sympathy. They are getting some sympathy because of this, to be honest with you, for sure. At least I think so. I still think it's just, I don't really care where he ends up at, as long as it's in a place where Again, like someone said earlier, we don't want no Epstein thing happening, but we just want him to be
able to go through trial. That's all we want.
On a trial.
Absolutely.
Bottom line is Abby and Libby. But anyways, go ahead, Adam. Answer that for Tom if you can.
Tom said, I find it interesting aspects that there might be surveillance of Rick in the week prior to February 18th. Can you expand on that? LE collected 2017 video from businesses that looked for RA videos. I was told very early after Richard Allen's arrest that there is tons, was the quote I was given, of surveillance footage, and that it's going to be pivotal, and that now I've been told that the prosecution and law enforcement have been using all of that surveillance footage to construct a timeline of Allen's events leading up to the week or 2 weeks before the unaliving of the girls. And yeah, I mean, if you remember when the information came out about the Marathon gas station footage corrupted, we found out that, the FBI was put in charge of collecting surveillance footage from any local business that they thought, there could be something on. And so initially in the first week or two of the case, there was surveillance footage captured from all over Delphi. And that, law enforcement has had that now for 6 years. Once they arrested Richard Allen, and, my speculation is that, when Doug Carter was referring to the 60 or 70 people that would have to be employed once someone was arrested, I believe he was referring somewhat to the amount of man hours it was going to take to review all of the surveillance footage once they had a suspect in custody. And I've been told that, they've now been evaluating all of that surveillance footage with Richard Allen in mind. So looking for Richard Allen. Whereas, even though they'd watched all of it before, they didn't know what to be looking for.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the importance. And the reason, and of course, once I saw it in the court documents yesterday, it was the first time I'd ever seen documented proof from an official source that validated what I was told back in November, the beginning of November. So.
Are we buffering?
Take it with what you will.
No, we're not.
We're buffering.
No,
I don't think so.
Chat would be complaining a lot more than just one person.
Yeah.
So you might just want to go out and come back in on that one if you feel like it is buffering, since it was having some issues. Analyst that says, what the heck would CCTV around town have to do with the crime? What do you mean? Why wouldn't it? Anna, because obviously the footage around town, right? If on the video footage, now that they know that Richard Allen had something to do with it, they can go back and look at that footage and look where his car was, where all the different things, around town of where he was driving. So that would have everything.
It builds a timeline, and think about the things that could have been done in that week or two before the girls' murders. There might have been dry runs. He may have gone by their house. We don't know his movements. So building a timeline for Richard Allen in the week or two before the murders, homicides, is very important. I mean, we know that, law enforcement went to a store in the area, even looking to see, weapons that were sold.
Yeah.
What if there's surveillance footage of him buying the weapon? I'm just throwing that out there, but I don't know if that's true, but I do know that, building the timeline is pivotal.
Right. Buying rope or any other items.
Yeah, buying the items. Yeah. The kit.
We've never proven it, but people believe that there were items left on the scene. So maybe they have video of him buying some of these items.
Yeah.
Also, did he go before to around the bridge area? Did they see him? Did he do a walkabout? Because usually that's what they do. They do before, to see where, what tree am I going to use? Where am I going to leave my stuff, and kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean,
even where his family was.
Maybe that's why some of the trail cams weren't working.
Right.
I have questions about the marathon video. Like, we don't have our official source that it that there is no marathon video. That was never, that it was FBI screwed it up. That
Yeah,
was
we don't-
it Murder Sheets that said that?
That was
Murder
a
Sheet.
source that told Murder Sheets that.
Mhm.
So we don't have an official source that they don't even that they don't have the marathon video.
We do not.
Correct. No, I've wanted to know that myself, but the thing is that obviously they can't give up their source.
Right.
But so it's either that, I mean, obviously Murder Sheets is someone that you'll take with a bigger grain of salt, that they're not like, when you have a lawyer and a journalist and stuff like that, they're going to try to put out things out there that are at least accurate, or what they think is accurate. But that one, I just like to see proof myself too. It's like, it's kind of like the ski mask incident. We know that it was said that the phone happened, the biggest CSAM happened because of the phone, but we have nothing to prove that either, that actually did happen that way. We just know what we've been told. But so the marathon gas station one, I mean, doesn't it just seem like if everything could go wrong with the Delphi case, it has, whether it's intentionally or not intentionally? It feels like one of the biggest flub ups that I've ever seen myself, from start to probably. I'm
Right.
sure the case will not. I'm pretty sure that we'll never see the full velocity of this case, because of how long it took, and because they were so misdirected from the start. I don't know.
That marathon surveillance video is actually the thing that triggered the person to tell me the information that they did, and the reason they did it is because they were lamenting on the fact that there'd been so much emphasis put on that marathon video, and that, how really truly insignificant it was because of the scope and of other surveillance footage they had. And if you think about it, Murder Sheet, they were, at the time, their focus was the clients. And so if there was something about a surveillance video that had to do with Keegan or Tony Klein, of course, I would see a source telling Murder Sheet about that. Whether or not that had significance to Libby and Abby's unaliving, that's a different story, because we now know that there's tons of other surveillance footage.
Which makes me think, because they said that they think there's more people involved, what's on that, was he with other people in that surveillance footage? You know what I mean? Like, because this is not a closed case. I mean, they don't think it's just him. Because they said, please come up with more information, and they think there's other players involved. Like, they're not going to just make that up. Like,
but there can also be, I guess, the crime scene. The crime scene, if they believe, if there was other, depending what they have. Also, was he the only person? Again, they should be able to tell, was he the only person that unalived them? Depending, on the cuts, was it a right-handed person? Was it a left-handed person? Did we ever find, is he left-handed or right-handed? I always thought he was left-handed, but we don't know, right?
Sure.
I think he's right-handed.
Right-handed?
Yeah, I think he's actually right-handed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, same Cremzilla.
Kennedy Phillips. So obviously, but they did check the surveillance back there, but they just didn't know who it was. So now that they have, hindsight to go back to it,
Exactly.
so they they had all their surveillance. They gathered up, like Adam was saying, they gathered up all the surveillance footage that they could for the time. But at the time, like I said, they didn't really have like the suspect. But I mean, I'm just kind of blown away, because if they had from the hardware store, I mean, obviously there would be certain vehicles. The what?
Heartland.
Yeah, the Heartland. Yeah, the Hoosier Heartland. Okay, like, so meaning certain vehicles would have passed there. He obviously parked over at that CPS building, the one that they in the thing called like the Farmer Bureau or whatever, federal whatever bureau they called it in the affidavit. But anyways, so I'm still just blown away by someone says that they're freaking at the on the freaking bridge. I'm just totally blown away by that. I mean, could it get screwed up any more than it already has? I don't know, honestly. From Keegan, Klein to Richard Allen to the whole thing. it's really basically just a mind fog of stuff. And even when, I don't know why this sticks in my head, but you remember when Doug Carter was given the interview with that Nigel and whoever it was on that radio show? And I remember when the guy like showed him the two pictures, and his comment was like, he said something like, "Well, fancy that, eh?" As like it was the weirdest thing. It's kind of like, how do you get this from this, and and it was almost like it was something like, "Well, fancy that, eh?" I don't know. Honestly, it's a big brain meltdown, and honestly, I'm tired of digging through rabbit holes and stuff like that anymore. And we're just talking about that. Like, honestly,
I was so happy when I heard that I was not, because in my career, I never seen a case like this. Like with all the turns, all the coincidences, everything goes missing. You cannot get a clear answer, yes or no. Everything has to be complicated. Everything comes out of.
Yeah.
When Doug Carter said that that was the same for him, I was like, oh my God, thank God I'm not the only one going insane, because I have never seen a case like this. And I don't even think, to be honest with you, that we will ever get to the bottom 100% of this case.
Just a small town that had no idea how to handle anything like this.
No.
Alexza, what are your... Sorry, go ahead.
Don't go ahead.
I just wanted to know what Alexza's thoughts are on Doug Carter, how he talks in riddles.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Like, do you think that is a good
a lot
thing?
of it has to do with his personality. I think that's just the way he is. Because I always thought it was him until I started seeing other interviews for the case of Flora. Yeah, and I did not know that until somebody mentioned it, and I went and I saw him, and he uses the same. He's very telling in his face. So he has a baseline where he has ticks. He has a tick that. So when he doesn't like something, he usually pushes back and he goes to the side. Like you can see that clearly. So I started to pick up his things, but I think he makes it a little. I think he likes the riddle. I think he makes it I think it's something that hypes it. It's almost like he hypes it more, because instead of saying just yes or no, like tentacles. Why did he knew that by using that word? It's almost like he's creating more intrigue. It's almost like more mystery to it. So I think a lot of this, he's bringing a lot of. I think he's drawing more attention instead of doing the opposite. And he can never answer a question. I think he goes. I don't understand why, because usually, especially law enforcement, they're very black and white. Usually they're yes or no, but he can never answer one question. It's almost like he answers a question within a question within, and I'm just like, okay. So I think he enjoys it. I think it's a little bit of a game for him too, that he enjoys it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Plus he has kind of a quirky personality.
I like the guy. But
he's nice. I like him too. He's likable.
Oh yeah. But when Sonny was talking about when he did that, was it the interview? With the interview where they had the two pictures, and they said, "Do you mean merging them? Like they're so different?" And he goes, "Yeah, isn't that something? Like almost like they're two different people." And I was like,
he's shocked.
Yeah, like he was trying to say there's two people. These are two different pictures of two different people, but without saying it, because he's like,
right. That's how I took it to be honest with you, because with him you have to, like I said, try to look beyond those stupid riddles that he does, and but anyway, so that it's kind of like when he was doing an interview. And I can't think of his channel name, but his name is like Jim Wagner or something. But anyway,
Jim Wagner, and Traveler.
That's it. And he had asked Doug Carter a question, and it was about one person, and you can see this pause, and then Doug Carter goes, "Yeah, like one person." And like I can't remember the way he said it now, but it was where you took it as like it's like he was going to answer differently, and then he was just like. Yeah, one person in a sense, but meaning that to me it meant like there was more, but he answered him to the direct question that he had answered, which gave him that room just to sit there and go, yes, one person. But I can't think exactly how he answered it anymore because it's been a long time since I listened to that. But I just remember when he had this pause, you could just was like, oh, dude, you literally just answered his question exactly how, instead of giving him more information, he just simply answered his question. But yet you could tell there was more to it than that. Anyways.
I like how he does that whole body that he pauses when there's a question, and then you can literally see that he goes back and then he tilts his head, and it's almost like he's looking, and it's annoying because it's like, come on, just say it, like just speak. Don't do so much, theatrics.
That's it. Theatrics.
That's what he does.
Am I the only one that didn't watch Shaq? I never could care less about that word Shaq. Shaq was what they put Nicole
meaning to
Rowan
read it. I never read it.
I didn't watch it. Yeah. Well, because everyone pertained it to Delphi, and I could have cared less that it was part of Delphi because I didn't believe it was ever part of Delphi, him using that word. But a lot of people have always believed that. I mean, each to their own. I just personally never believed that Shaq was meant to give us a hint, just like the grinding gears, type of thing. Those are typical expressions like grinding gears. But everything that Doug Carter has said, it's been like,
shifting gears.
It's shifting gears, yeah.
Shifting gears, yeah.
Everything has been like just, diagnosed to everything from all of his words. I don't really so much look at the words as how he's saying it and just trying to read between the lines. But because he double talks and what he says in one interview will change to another interview, and the information that he gave in one interview, he'll say that, oh, we're holding that close to our vest. Dude, you literally just told us in another interview the same stuff that you're saying you're holding close. So he forgets what he does say sometimes. Probably because he's too busy trying to mind meld us.
And also the pronouns. He always uses they, even if it's one person. They always use they.
Yep. So, and we hang on to every word because we're so hungry to know what has happened because we're so invested.
Because you're trying to read. You're trying to read it and you pay attention to everything. It's true, but I think that's the way he speaks.
I'd like to know where this whole Keegan Klein stuff fits into it still. Like the whole Wabash River search and did I say that right, Deb? Wabash. Oh, Wabash.
I'm sure it's going to fit somewhere. It has to fit somewhere.
It does.
Do you guys, I was going to say in chat there, just one if you still think that Keegan Klein is attached to Delphi. Doesn't even mean if it's in a small way. It doesn't matter if he was just a lure. One yes, because as time is going on and because there's been no charges towards him for Delphi, you can see people are kind of like taking a little step back from going, not so sure anymore. Can you guys give the stream a thumbs or a like, please? If you could, that would be great. Thank you for saying that, Virgo. And I think somebody else said it earlier. That's
a good point.
Who? What?
Kennedy said the AS profile is connected, and that could be a whole nother question then, because we know that Keegan Klein admitted, he pled guilty to creating and using the Anthony profile, but and he wasn't charged with anything with Delphi yet that we know of. So, was the Anthony Shots profile, is that still connected, even if Keegan's not?
And he even agreed that he was supposed to meet with her that day. I think to me, if I know that somebody got M, I would never be like, hey, I haven't spoken to her.
He never said that, actually.
Yeah, he never technically said that day. He said I was supposed to meet her. He never says on that.
Really? I thought they said that day.
Yeah. Right. They pieced that together in the interrogation, so a lot of people assume that.
It's kind of like
that would change a lot. Okay.
Well, I would like to go back and watch it now that we have an arrest.
Sure.
Well, one of the things that people get mistake is the fact of what Alexza just said there, because he never said I was supposed to meet her that day. He's like, hey, I was supposed to meet that girl or whatever. And the other thing that people are getting wrong is if they're saying that he messaged her at 8 a.m. No, in the interview it says that's when he logged in and logged out. But it never gave us a time, which actually said what time he had messaged Libby's phone. So that's another thing that people kind of, if they go back and read the documents, they'll see that sometimes you interpret it a certain way, but it wasn't really actually said that
And
way.
then another thing that gets confused, and I know a lot of people question, is also Kelsey. Was it Kelsey the one that spoke to him?
Yes.
That
Yes.
texted and asked? Yeah,
Two
right? Because a lot of people
Yeah.
are saying that never, it wasn't Kelsey.
It was Kelsey.
Yeah, that's what I
Becky
I've
had
heard-
already talked about that. Go ahead, Deb.
I've heard two different things. I've heard Kelsey say two different things, and I think that she just meant that she was in the presence of this person that said that, like they were together doing or whatever. She said that a friend actually asked him.
Okay, I've never heard
Libby's,
that.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, because somebody corrected me and they're like, no, Kelsey never said it.
Well,
And I was okay.
The way I was told it was that
They
they went to They went to the police station.
Right.
They went and grabbed, like
All their devices.
all the devices, and then Kelsey was going through all the last people that she could come across that had, perhaps talked to Libby. That's how it was told to me, and I believe that's how Becky had said it to me as well, because that's where I remember that coming from.
Right.
So
I even heard Becky say once it was an iPad.
Yes, it was an iPad.
That she was able
I've
to
heard-
log in on the account from.
I've heard
Yeah.
that too, but I've also heard that it was a friend.
Right.
Was that from Becky, or no?
No, it was from
No. Okay.
an interview with Kelsey.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I know, and this is the thing too, that if a lot of people have noticed this as well, and some people will understand this, but if you notice Kelsey in a lot of interviews, she will always say the word phones, meaning Abby and Libby both had a phone, because she keeps saying we tried contacting the phones, right? And remember how there was always that big thing about that, but it's always those little things, but not everyone hears that information and whatever. So, as time was going on, it's a crime and shame with Deb and Adam and myself, we would just, whenever we had a question for Becky, if she could answer it for us, we would just simply ask her. This is before the gag order. And we would just simply ask her if she could tell us, because you get tired of hearing all these different rumors. And, she's just giving us the best answers that she knows to give from what she knows. It's no different than Anna didn't know her daughter had all this, like probably a phone or a Facebook account and stuff like that. So, with Becky and that, like I said, they're giving you the best answer, truthful answer that they can to what their knowledge is. But, so that's what we always just try to do. If we heard something, ridiculous, we would just kind of ask her and clear it up. And Becky was always gracious enough to honestly answer us back.
Yeah. I spoke to someone in one of the girls' families very recently, and asked them specifically about the Anthony Schatz information, and I was surprised a little bit by their response as far as what they've been made privy to and what they haven't. So I found that really interesting.
Sorry, say that again. I'm sorry, you froze.
I would think that if the Anthony Schatz profile was a null and void issue in the case, what would be the risk or threat of telling the families that, or giving them any information? So
Right.
I was interested once I found out what they have or haven't been told about the whole Anthony Schatz thing altogether.
Interesting.
They probably don't give them very much information if they're, you know what I mean? Like, I would think.
No.
I don't think they have a lot of information.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm sure the family doesn't get a lot of information.
No, because they wouldn't want to risk the case space, because people talk.
Right.
We know this. And
Which is why if it has nothing to do with it, then there should be no risk to letting them know that, right?
No, but
if it was your kid, would you be knocking on the door though? Like calling, like would you? And Alexa, in cases, do families get more information on other cases? Like,
It depends. It all depends the relationship with the detectives. I've seen a lot of detectives that they make friendships that, and they tell them even things that they're not supposed to, kind of to calm the families. And I've seen cases that they keep it very, very tight. So I guess it all comes to the detectives and what kind of relationship they have with the detectives.
gotcha.
In my personal opinion, that's what I have seen. So
The one thing I remember was and this I was saying to Adam the other night as well. You could tell that they were given the information about James Chadwell, Brian James Chadwell, because when basically they arrested them and everyone was going crazy over, Brian James Chadwell, and I understand why. I mean, he was a really good fit in a lot of ways, but the family instantly was coming out pretty much right away saying that, basically like, don't stop looking for the BG. And they basically said that he's not the BG, but everyone was still on their frenzy with him. But like I said, so you could tell that basically, like, at least to me, you could tell that they were at least told that they didn't believe he was connected to Delphi. And that's hence why the Twitters and the different things were coming out from the family. It's like that they were told that, so something like that. But I think the really important stuff, they're really not going to tell them, honestly, because we all know that people talk regardless, or you slip and say something. They're not going to risk this case. This case is bad enough as it is. They're not going to risk the case and tell family too much. And so I believe it when Becky and that say that really they don't know much more than the rest of everybody else. They don't, in all honesty. And even in talking to her, you can tell like that she's just as curious as like the who, what, where, and why. We know, I should say, well, partially who, perhaps, but you can tell that she's looking for the answers as well. That's the best way of saying it.
And especially if they know that they have leak information, like somebody said something and by accident they told somebody and then they leak it, they will never tell you ever again, which it happened in this case. Don't forget at the beginning, a lot of stuff was leaked.
Yeah.
Innocently, but it was leaked. So,
Deb, see if you remember this, because I remember what Todd's talking about here. It says he asked her to come in and give DNA samples 3 or 4 different times. I vaguely remember that, but I can't remember her answer.
Well, I just answered him in the chat. Well, it makes sense. Yeah, she did say that. But it makes sense because the girls were wearing her jackets. So her DNA would have been on those jackets, clothing, and they were in her car. Her DNA would have been on them. And so that makes sense why they would need to continue to check it out and clear things.
Yeah. I remember her talking about it. It's just that, like you said, there's been so much information with Delphi, like I've forgotten a lot of things, because like I said, when you're going through certain things at the time, you know it like the back of your hand. And then as the time progresses and different things you're looking at, or, maybe just for the fact that the case has been pretty quiet besides little things here and there, but you just kind of like, there's so much stuff that comes out about the different things, you just simply forget it after a while. And then something like that, for instance, I wouldn't have remembered that until I seen it. And then it reminds me of the interview because I remember Kelsey talking about it, but I can't remember exactly what she said anymore. Whereas at the time,
and so many things have changed from what we used to think and what we used to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
Your mind tries to sort through all of that and remember, like, was that debunked?
Yeah. You know what? I am curious in chat, and you guys can talk in a second again. I am curious in chat. How many people believe that this is one person that, okay, let's just take away Keegan Klein. So let's just pretend like he doesn't exist right now. Do you guys believe it was Richard Allen or Richard Allen and others? So just one, if you just think it was Richard Allen that committed the actual crimes in the bridge that day. And 2, of course, if you think there was more than the one, Thinking about
but that's tricky because you can think that, like, for example, I've always believed that it was him, but I don't think the idea or the order came from him. You know what I mean? So would that be considered? That would be.
That's where you confuse me, because I know, because it's kind of like I can't see someone, because you think that it's some sort of fantasy that he had, right? So I can't see someone like how I have it in my head when you say that is that somebody's ordering him to do it and he's living out the
Oh,
fantasy.
well, it's not ordering. It's just, when you're, when you have those fantasies, obviously, it's a ring basically, and the orders maybe didn't come from from him, but you have to have the fantasy, because you're not going to do something that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
I'm here. We all here because we love true crime. You know what I mean? So it has to be something that they, for me, this is how I see it. He had the fantasies, and I do believe it was him. But I don't believe that if the crime scene is as elaborate as I think it is by what the descriptions I'm getting, I don't see him doing that by himself. I don't see him having that level of sophistication, especially for her first time. So I have to say that those orders or those ideas came from somebody else. But I do believe he's the one who did it himself.
So what you're saying is maybe a scenario like this. Two people had fantasized and talked about doing something like this. He actually went to the location and did the act while someone was communicating with him and telling him what to do, or maybe communicated with him beforehand and planned out and told him what to do.
And I have seen cases like that that it goes back to this. I have seen cases where they have been like rings, and people that do it, that is two people, but I don't see two people at the crime scene. That's what I do not see. I don't see that. I don't see that. I think
that makes sense.
Anna, that ski mask thing, Adam and we had talked about that last year. And I think anyone that knows that there's never been a police report found at all. So I can't say that they debunked it because anyone that follows the case knew that there was no report that could be given or shown. Now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Anna, that Adam, is it perhaps because it was a youth and so you wouldn't have access to it, or no?
They'd still have to report redacting.
It could be.
So
was
that
the mask incident reported in the interview with KK?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, right. I'm forgetting details. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So maybe that's new to some people, but that's kind of like an old thing. There's never been anything to prove that this ski mask incident happened whatsoever. And I've said this on the show multiple times, that back in 2010, I believe it was, that there was 2 ski masks incidents right around the Klein house when they used to live in like Young America. So they lived at one point right across from the one house and a block away in that same little small area. Then they had moved down to where Keegan's mom lives now with that something Hamilton guy, which is just down the road on the farmland. So when those ski masks incident happened back in 2010, they were living in that house down the road near the farmland. So that's why that always strikes me as odd about the whole ski mask thing, is because the 2 incidents happened right near Tony Klein's house. What are the chances that right across the street from a house that he lived at, like literally he moved about like 2 minutes down the road. But anyway, so that always struck me as odd.
I think, if you go back, if you've been watching It's Crime and Shame, starting last summer, I was digging really deep into that entire angle of everything. And I reached out, I spoke to Cass County law enforcement, the sheriff's department. I spoke to the 911 company that they use. I spoke to people within the investigation, and I spoke to people within the family of the alleged victim of the ski mask incident. And I personally, I said all along that I was never able to find any tangible proof. I'm not going to accuse a minor of not telling the truth.
Laggy, laggy, laggy.
Oh, he's
He's
frozen.
not frozen.
He's
Thank you,
frozen.
Mustang. I know. Let's see if we can all make that face.
Sorry, am I back?
You're back.
Yeah. I don't know what the last thing you heard me say before I froze was, but
Something about last summer you were talking about.
yeah. So last summer, you know, and I called Cass County police. I've spoken with the sheriff's department, the 911 company, family members of the victim, and I've never been able to find a police report or scanner report or any tangible proof. And I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying that if it did, it's under lock and key to the point where even law enforcement involved in the investigation aren't aware of it. So I'm glad that someone else, you know, has looked into that now and came to the same conclusion, I'm assuming. But thank
I
you.
bet you Richard Allen.
$5. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. What are you speechless? Is it Adam? Is he making you speechless, Shelley? The five of us beauty queens up here, is that what's making you
I love Shelly. She's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, thanks, Shelley. Anyway, carry on. And thanks, Shelley.
Right. And Kennedy, I've never said that girl's name publicly. And there are two people that a lot of people think could be the victim. I've never publicly said either one of them. Granted, I know which one it is.
She also could have been a victim of. Well, she was the friend. She was a friend of his. Like she was.
Like
she
they
was
did
a
the
friend.
family, right?
Pardon?
Like weren't they family friends?
Yeah,
The girl.
they were family friends. Yeah. Adam doesn't say the name. I've said the last name. I've never said the first name. We've said the
But it's
last
out
name.
there.
There are two
It's
girls that a lot of people think it could be. And, you know, both, and I don't see either of their names because they both were there that night.
You're talking about the sleepover.
Yes. And both of them actually may have spoken to Anthony Schatz.
All I remember is that he called
believe
Libby
they
the
actually-
annoying one. Oh, you're frozen again, bud.
They call
Yeah.
Libby the annoying one.
Yeah, they got all that sticks out of my head is when Keegan Klein said, "Oh, you mean the annoying one," referring to Libby.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
I gotcha.
Because he's like, "I never spoke to her. No, I spoke to the other girl." And then he's like, "Oh, you mean the annoying one or whatever?" And he's like, "Yeah, but I talked to the other girl."
Look who's talking.
Hey,
I said, look who's talking about annoying.
right? Yeah. What did you say, Todd? It's kind of a shame. This is why it's not connected to social media or KK. BG would have taken Libby's phone and destroyed it. But he didn't.
Then
It was
he would have.
No.
It would have been where he went. I mean, he'd be holding the phone. Like
no, we don't know that it was underneath of her at all. Yeah, no.
And it's kind of a big, stupid mistake. I mean, but they do, and they do a lot of
No
mistakes.
different than the casing, the unspent casing.
Mhm.
A stupid mistake. But the phone, no, the phone wasn't underneath of her.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Debbie. Deb, were you
Alright.
talking before and we couldn't hear you?
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, I'm sorry. Oh,
When Adam froze up the last time, it cut me out.
okay. What were you trying to say, Deb?
I don't even know.
Huh.
Just proceed on.
Yeah. Let's see here. Go ahead. Was said that the phone was found near them. Yeah. Near them.
And I always thought it was on the other side. I thought it was on the side of the bridge, but I guess I was wrong.
You know, honestly, again, that's everything we've heard. We've heard the shoes were on the other side. That
Mhm.
you know all this stuff. We've heard the phone was on the other side. We heard that a shoe was on the drive, yet we all know that Chris Todd released photos of those 3 pictures with the pink sock in the water, the Nike shoe, and the clothes. And that's, yeah. And then that second item, that white item, that's no undergarment. You know, there's no way that's even an undergarment for that. It's just that it's a heavy piece of material, whatever it is. It's not like a camisole. I've stared at the thing multiple times, and I don't know what it is, but it's not no undergarment. In fact, he probably, like I said, it's probably in his buried pile in the back of his yard there. Anything to do with undergarments, I'm sure. I'll be curious to see exactly what was all found in his backyard. Won't you guys?
Me too. Me too.
Yes.
I want to know what was in that Macy's bag.
Right?
And the car. I want to
And
know
the
what I want
car.
to know what they found in that vehicle, DNA wise.
Yeah.
And of course, we know his wife did tell them that he had a blue Carhartt jacket and still owned it. So were they able to find anything on that?
CJK, tell that person to go smoke another big fat doob. I think it's pretty clear to most people now that Richard Allen is a BG.
Unless you're on the Ron Logan train, and then God rest your soul.
Yeah, I mean, I don't honestly care if other channels want to think that he's not the BG. All the power to them, right? I mean, he's not been proven guilty of anything yet at all. But I mean, I had my BG forever and a day, and then I finally had to succumb to the fact that Richard Allen. I still even hate to admit it to this day, not because I don't want to, because they just look so. Like I can't understand the markings and all that stuff versus this person that looks like a miniature version of Katie. But anyways, regardless, you know, if somebody's wrong about something, you're simply wrong. But if that person believes that person said that Richard Allen isn't the BG, so be it. You know, at the end of the day.
CJK was asking, who is Katie? Are you referring to Katie Roby? Who used to be Miss Effin' Wonderful is her channel, and she covered Delphi. Is that who you're referring to?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
I know the name Deb says, but I've never watched this person or know anything about that person. Oh, Alan is definitely BG.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Remember what Doug Carter said when they asked him if he was BG?
Yeah.
And he said, well, he was arrested. They arrested him or something. He wouldn't say yes.
Well, I mean, he can't say that he is BG, right? Because it hasn't gone to court. He has to be careful what he says. Could that be the situation?
I think he could still say it though, right? Like
he did in one and didn't in the other. In the one interview after the press conference, he basically said, well, we got whatever warrant for his arrest, right? Basically. So he never just that's Doug Carter fashion. He never outright came and said yes in that interview. But I think later on in another interview, he basically gave more of the yes answer to it. Like I said, depending on what interview you watch with him, but I'm pretty sure that later on in another interview, same thing was asked. And bye, Adam. See you. Laggy thing, poor thing. But anyways, if I'm not mistaken, I recall that I think of being said in another interview where he actually more acknowledged that yes, you know, he likes, like I said, I think like Alexza says, he likes to play his little head games or his word games. With us, and it's annoying.
Great at it.
To be honest. Well, he might be great at it, but it's annoying. Just answer the damn questions, dude. Seriously, yes or no answer. Come on now. You know,
Just tell us.
Oh, I can't wait to see him on the stand. Well, hopefully they'll televise it. But I would love to see him on the stand and all the.
Oh God.
Yes.
He would be a horrible witness.
But he has to. He's going to have to
I know
answer
you're
the
wrong.
questions on the stand, though. He's not going to be able to do riddles.
Mm-hmm. Turner, if you look at Katie's picture and Richard Allen's younger picture, they look like little mini me's of each other.
Yeah.
So
Cute dog.
Hey, what'd you say?
Cute dog, Turner. You got a cute dog in your profile picture.
Oh, let's see. Oh, that is a cute. Wait, hold on. That looks no, that's not a real dog. That looks like it's like it's when it looks like it's real, but it's not. It's like a stuffed animal or something.
No,
That's not
a
a real
little.
dog.
That's a Yorkie with its hair pulled up and a little.
Yeah, I don't know. Turner, answer us. Because
real or not, it's cute.
Okay, Turner.
Yeah, that looks like an image pulled off of the internet. Like, not to say it's not a real dog, but it looks like an image pulled off of the internet.
Yeah, probably.
Are we right, Turner? Am I right about that? If I was wrong about Katie, am I right about that?
Turner, right? It's a Yorkie. I used to have a Yorkie.
My little guy's passed out. I gave him his calm me down medicine. He was wild. You alive over there, buddy?
Is that a picture of your Yorkie though, Turner? Like, is that a picture off the internet? Because it looks like a little freaking stuffed animal that looks real, but not quite. If I'm wrong about that, then I must be wrong about everything. It's just hard to tell because it just looks too perfect. Yeah. I can't see the dog. Carol. Maybe you need to borrow Todd. Where's Todd when you need glasses? Where's Todd?
I need to go wash my. I can't even see out of these glasses. They must have makeup on them or something.
Anyways, you guys, we're going to be going on. We'll end this live within the next 15 minutes here. So let's go to you guys in chat. Who has the Yorkie? If it was Yorkshire, I'd care more, to be honest with you. I love dogs, don't get me wrong, but Yorkshire. No, he's ours. Oh, so it was a picture after grooming. Okay. Oh, there's Todd. Glasses. There you go.
Where's that dollar?
Oh. Neither of us has won that bet. Yeah. But anyways, yeah.
Bye, Fibro.
Bye, Fibro. Anyways, if you guys have any questions for Alexza, Stepha, anybody up in chat or just have something to say, go ahead and say it. And yeah. Other than that, I'll be right back.
For Alexza? Oh, yeah. Okay, Alexza. So tell me like your first case that you were on and you're like a total, new.
My first case was a unaliving of a woman by a ex-boyfriend. Like literally it was like 2 days before she was supposed to get married with a new guy, and he unalived her. Like literally, I think it was like 2 days. Was it 2 days? Yeah, it was like 2 days before the wedding. And she had gone out. And she had actually called the police and said, hey, because they had a restraining order, and called the police that he was there, and the police was like, oh no, as long as he doesn't get close to you, blah 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 blah. And then he lied and said that he was just going to come in to give her a gift, and then he was never gonna see. So she was like, okay, let him in. And oh my god, but when I tell you, she was shreds how many times she got stabbed. And it was the first case. Actually, I had to go in person for that one. I did go in person. And that's one of those things that we were talking with CD. You will never forget that smell of blood. Oh my God. It was horrendous. And just the whole scene, the way, and I think she was trying to, I guess, run away from him. So it was like wall to wall. But I'm telling you, the walls were white. But after they were they were painted red. Like it looked like it went in every single wall. It was
a copper smell, right?
And the smell was, I will never, like I can close my eyes and I smell it. It was horrendous.
Alexza, Grandma Watches asked really quickly, and since you were the one that had said that earlier, could you let her know? She said, who are the fake wives? Could you just recap really quickly what you had said earlier about where that came from?
No, what I said was, I had a little bit of experience on jail and prison, but I wanted to corroborate how many, changes of clothes. I know usually they get changes of clothes, underwear, socks, and so on. So I said to myself, let me call the jail and just verify. So I called a couple times. I actually called 6 times in total. And I think the 4 times they hung up. As soon as I said, and I tried to explain, they hung up. And then finally, I was like, you know what? I'm like, stop hanging up on me. I'm like, I'm going to keep calling. I am not the media. And they're like, no, we're not supposed to talk to you. And I'm like, listen, I am not the media. I am not a YouTuber. I gave my credentials and I said, listen, I just want information, not about Richard Allen. I just want information about, how you guys, what you give and the conditions. And they were like, okay, we can answer that. And, going into the conversation, the lady said that there had been a lot of YouTubers calling, to find information, but especially a lot of people, but he didn't say YouTubers. He said a lot of people had been posing to be Richard Allen's wife to either get information or to try to speak to him.
Wow. Kelly Brown. Is that Kelly Brown? Kelly Brown, is that you?
So I was like, talk about hybrastophilia, right? I was like, okay, I guess he has a fan club. Because I did a lot of those, are calling for him. So,
Tom Webster says I didn't call.
But the lady was so annoyed. But the first thing is like, oh no, she's like, the YouTubers. They're like, a lot of them have called. And I was like, I wanted to ask, and she actually almost sounded like she had a list because she's like, but are you in the list? And I was like, no, I'm not supposed to be in any list. But yeah, so I was like, okay. So I guess a lot of people are calling, which rightfully so. I guess a lot of people between yesterday and today, they want to get information from him. But I'm like, like, what makes you call and say? I mean, do people think that they're gonna get away with it? I mean,
yes.
How serious you have to be?
It takes. Yeah. I will tell you, it takes some nerve to do that.
Imagine what happens if they discover that that's not you. Like the trouble that you're gonna get into. Impersonating. Yeah. I mean,
people.
I didn't call.
I didn't call. And I was too, even like,
I'm not chirping Richard Allen.
Me either.
But I might. No, I'm kidding.
If I had his phone number, I would definitely. I mean, the thing I've come to know on the internet is that there's some definite people out there that do the darndest things. I mean, and not to make it go a little bit to the gory side, but look at those one YouTubers that got, unalived by a freaking person that was listening to their channel and stuff. There's a lot of whack jobs out there. A lot of good people too, but there's a lot of, it never ceases to amaze me. Nothing shocks me at all because, people do the damnedest things. But that's what makes the world kind of, nice in a certain way too, because what some people won't do, other people will do. Not without crossing the lines, but, I mean, I don't know. People just do the darndest things.
The lady I spoke to, like, she couldn't understand, like, why she was asking me. And she's like, how do regular people are interested in crime? And she's like, I don't understand. And I was like, well, I'm like, there's a whole community. And she was like, and I actually gave her a couple names and I'm like, you should check. And she's like, you know what? She's like, I'm going to see them. She's like, I can't believe a regular person having and she called it a podcast. She could say a podcast. She didn't understand the difference between YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, podcast. Why would regular people like you, Sonny, that you have nothing to do with this, that you sit here and I said, well, a lot of people do it because they want to help. It's like the little thing that they want to help people, either to solve the case or bring awareness. There's a lot of people that do it for money.
Or crazy.
It's kind of like you, right? You're just calling up, knowing that you're a normal, decent human being that's just simply there, and they freaking keep hanging up on you. And then you finally have to give your credentials because you have to deal with the whack jobs that are too busy calling, the freaking place. Because I knew as soon as we heard that they were probably getting flooded with calls about the whole thing. you know, and again, you know, the thing is that we're just a person calling. They're sitting there dealing with probably hundreds of phone calls. And again, people faking, trying to who they are, you know, making up bullshit just to get answers and stuff like that, you know, and, you know, you come across that even too with a lot of the people like Delphi and before the gag order with the families is that a lot of people get, you know, just get used for information and then just get, you know, tossed to the side in a sense. And you think that you're coming in like myself, you know, as this person that really cares about Abby and Libby, and but you don't stop to think, or you forget that they've probably dealt with like thousands of messages, a lot of bunch of people like lying and stuff to them, that they become very leery of people,
right?
And don't,
and
you know,
we also live in an era now where, you know.
Sorry, that was the first thing I wanted to make sure is that they knew that I didn't want to speak about him. I didn't want to. Nothing about it wasn't about him personally. I just wanted to verify the information I knew about, you know, their logistics, basically how they run their facility. That's all and that was the first thing I said. I don't want to know about him. I'm not calling about him. Stop hanging up on me. And they're like, oh, okay.
Alexza, if you got him in an interrogation room, what were some of the questions that you would ask him?
Honestly, I would like to know, you know, the relationship. One thing is the relationship with his daughter. I think his daughter and his mom.
His daughter.
Because I think, you know, always when you find out the relationship between, you know, the mothers or their daughters or even wives, then you can kind of piece like where they're coming from. Like, how was his childhood in his eyes? Because obviously we can get a picture that they said that he had a normal childhood, but I would like to see how, from his perspective, how does he see his childhood?
Right.
And was that his biological childhood or his adopted childhood? Because you know, they could be different answers there.
Now, did he ever live with his biological father?
Father, I'm not sure of, but you know, he has biological siblings. Absolutely, he does. And some of, you know, well, I mean, that's a whole interesting rabbit hole to jump down.
But I don't think he had any relationship with his biological father and his biological siblings.
Allegedly, no. Yeah, not that
Allegedly,
I
don't think so.
Yeah.
I think they just knew he was the one. You know, he existed, but I don't think they had any relationship, for what I know.
Alexza, just quickly for Shelly, she says, "Do you think RA is being treated differently than any other inmate?"
I would assume he is being treated because they want, you know, I mean, it could be good and bad. Because I mean, the bad, it could be what we're hearing about, that, you know, people are like, you know, smacking him around and taking things because they're so angry of what he had done, especially in such a small community. But I would say that because they have the whole world watching, I think they would actually take care of him a little bit better because they want him to pay for this. But I've seen cases where they treat them really bad. I mean, not personally, but I've heard horror stories what they have, especially the ones that go there for abusing kids, SA kids. They get treated really bad by the guards. So.
Yeah. You know, I said this each and every time because every time we talk about this stuff, I can't help but always think of Blaine and what a wealth of always information he was to us when it came to from the insides of prison and stuff like that. I mean, Andrew, I'm sure could tell us too. He's, you know, I had a child back in January there, but, you know, I besides missing Blaine, which everyone regardless knows I do, and Adam does, and Deb, and that anyone that knows Blaine from the channel, like I said, just a redheaded, you know, bubbly guy. But anyways,
teddy bear.
Awesome.
I, you know, like I said, wow, he was able to give us a lot of insight with regards to the inside of what it was like, because obviously he spent time there and stuff like that. And I just really miss that. Is anyone here that spent a lot of time in prison that wants to join us one day and talk? Deb,
have you ever seen, there was a channel called Jumpsuit Pablo? Have any of you have seen it? He was actually, I think he spent 10 years in the same prison that Alec.
Oh, I watch him.
Oh.
I love that
You
guy.
see him? Oh my God! Like all the
Yes.
inside information, like, he is so helpful. And then I was
What's his
thinking,
name?
Is he the guy that shows like how you make certain foods and do certain things in prison? Is it that guy?
he does a little bit of that, but mainly he's been hooked on the Alec thing, like saying like
Okay.
the procedure. And I think it's is
It's
it
not the same guy then.
Jumpsuit Pablo? I think it is. I'll send you the link. I think that's his name.
Shelley,
Don't forget.
Shelley
Okay.
says Shelley says we should bring JLR on.
Yeah, you know
the
what?
jail
Jail. Oh, but did you hear how the JLR totally embellished himself? Make it seem like he was like getting starved when he was just doing it himself. But Vertigo. So Vertigo Brain, how long did you spend in prison, Vertigo Brain? And if so, my thing is this: if you did, like, is it one of those things that they, on the outside, looking in, it looks pretty decently ran and stuff like that. I guess my question would be like, is it how do I want to say that, guys? To word it, like, is it a lot more, I don't know, does the guards and that like really kind of treat people shitty, good, or is it based on, depends on what type of guard you are? I don't know. I just picture it kind of like, I watch these documentaries. I know nothing about the inside of a prison besides watching documentaries. And of course, they're going to show you on those certain shows, everything's, open up the door all nicely and whatever. But y'all know that this corruption and shade goes behind it, the stuff that we don't necessarily see. 20 years ago, kids are segregated into protection. But
Well, they can go to special prisons like Chris Watts and then Timothy Jones Jr. They both, obviously killed their children, and they all live happily at Dodge Correctional Institute, and happily ever after in prison, after they annihilated their families.
Right.
So they are in general population with the other family annihilators. So they do get general population. They just have to be with other
Weren't
people.
those federal cases? Like,
No,
because no, they weren't. So why was Chris Watts sent to a out of state prison then?
because
Wasn't
of the people in Colorado. That was part of his plea deal.
That's right.
And that's why I don't want the Chris Watts thing. He did a plea deal like right
Mhm.
away, and then the case was never. It never went to trial. So the information, people are still out there wanting to know what happened, and he won't tell. So his own family doesn't know what happened to their grandchildren and their daughter-in-law, and neither does Shanann's family. So that's why I'm always like, please let him get to trial, because otherwise the information never comes out, and then the speculation never stops.
Mm-hmm. And just to quickly, so Vertigo Brain, that's what I was kind of getting at too, right? It's like he says, doors are accidentally left open and they accidentally fall down. Like, that's the stuff that I mean. That they're doing stuff like that. Like, oops, I mean, like I said, we know it all the time, that there's the good and the bad in all the different correctional facilities and stuff like that.
One of the guards used to tell me that what he used to do is when they had court dates, what they used to do is getting in and out of the van, they would smack their heads right on the on the top of the car. Like, they would smack them like really hard, and then they would be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it was an accident."
So
They would have like a huge hematoma.
No risk of that with Richard Allen.
Like a little thing. I know.
Smack his head on the bottom step.
I totally see how that could happen. Like, you would get so frustrated. I went and did drug rehab and detox with patients.
Oh, with patients.
I walked in there like, I've always been a medical nurse, and I am going to go and save the world. And it was during, Dayton. It was our big it was during our big epidemic. Like everybody, you know, we had it. We were kind of, yes. So we were kind of the hub at that time for opioids. So we had lots of patients. And when I got there, I was such a happy, loving nurse. And I remember my mom always saying, Stephanie, you know, it's time to leave when your heart becomes hard-hearted at as a nurse at your position. And I had never experienced that before. But being in that situation, my heart started to become hard-hearted. And that's when I said, I gotta go, because I don't want to be that way with my patients. Nursing is my heart, and it wasn't fair to have a hard heart toward patients. And so I see how guards, I mean, I never hurt anybody, nothing like that, but I could just feel that, like, I didn't have that love like I did for my patients I had, that were 80 years old. And, so I see how guards get frustrated and how that would happen if you were dealing with bad shiznit every day, because it is. They are trying to pull, like, in prison, I know that they are already like detoxed and all that stuff, but they're always trying to pull something on you all the time.
Right.
So I see how that can happen.
And also, don't forget that correctional officers too have the highest suicide rate.
I believe that 100%.
Yes. So it's scary. I mean, from their point of view, you get it. And also, they're human. I mean, should they be doing that? No, because they should be treating, their job is to treat everybody humanely. But I guess when you're there, and that's what I was telling Sunny, and I said to Sunny, I feel kind of guilty because I don't feel any remorse for Richard Allen, because what I have seen in 16 years, all the crime scenes and all the all the people that they got arrested and all the case that I have dealt with, I have no sympathy because of what I have seen and what I know those girls went through. But like you said, but I guess my heart has already been taken out and hardened, and it's cold, and I have no sympathy. But you're right. I think the time, and that happens to them, to a lot of the correctional officers, that they should treat people humanely, but they don't, because in their viewing is the way of paying back, or they don't see them as human. They don't see it in the same level. A lot of them also abuse them. Let's not even talk about how many guards abuse as SA, the inmates. And that happens, and we usually don't like to talk about, or we pretend that it doesn't happen, but that happens a lot too.
Yeah.
So it's a sad world.
Oh, don't make now I'm starting to think of it's a mad world. Mad world.
We live in a crazy world. Like, we need some Jesus in this world. Sorry, I didn't. Oh my gosh, I just talked religion. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Todd says, Adam, are you trying to say that the woman who supposedly identified as the witness to Muddy and Bloody Guy was arrested for trying to run over her ex was not the actual witness?
Right. I am saying that. Yeah, that was 100%. And the woman with the record and that and those charges is not the Muddy and Bloody witness. That person was incorrectly identified.
Where did that story come from? Anyway,
online.
That it was her.
Online, yeah. I don't know where either, but even when I heard it, I was like, when something doesn't sound right. So I'm glad you kind of said that, because I never believed it anyway. So, because you know how people are, they, like I said, it just swirls around the internet very fast. Someone started it, and then,
I believed it. I didn't know till just now.
Well, of course, it's the same, which is why I looked into it. Because, why wouldn't we believe it? I mean, if someone, but I should say my understanding is that is not the witness. I think I know who that person is, and I was unequivocally told that is not the correct name.
Well, good, because we have a real witness that is credible.
Yeah, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not speaking to their credibility at all. I don't know.
Well, it's better than
Yeah.
somebody that almost committed vehicular homicide.
Right.
So there's that.
Right.
We can't get too much worse than that.
Vertigo
Well,
says that. Oh, go ahead, Deb.
and you know, I also heard that that person got some kind of a deal right after, which also concerned me.
Right. And that defense would eat that up.
Yeah.
Right, and you can actually, a lot of that is public information, and I could not find any corroboration with that, other than it added to the narrative of that story sounding more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Radar, you can message me. You can message me later, because I don't want to put anyone's name out there, because I don't know 100% anything
Right.
until I see it in a court document.
We got to get to trial, man.
I know. It's still going to be a while. The story online was that she was in jail and then suddenly became a witness who remembered Muddy and Bloody. Yeah, I remember it when it came out or something, and I don't know. I just didn't buy it. I don't know why. I just had a hard time buying that this witness. I don't know. I mean, it's hard enough that somebody's driving and then they go, "Oh, he's muddy and bloody," but I don't know why. I just didn't really buy into that whole thing. I didn't even look at it, didn't care to. And then besides Adam talking about it now, I wouldn't have remembered it, to be honest with you.
This is just my personal opinion, but I will say there's a portion of the Delphi community that has a very specific narrative that they believe happened. There's a very specific person they believe is responsible for the girls unaliving. And there have been multiple instances now, and I'm not making this a blanket statement. It's not everyone that holds that belief, but there have been people that hold that belief that have intentionally been putting out information that is not true and is false, that tries to paint the story in a light that is sympathetic to Richard Allen, or that points the narrative away from Richard Allen. We're even seeing it now with some of the social media. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. If you feel like it's inhumane what he's experiencing, that's fine. There are people that are saying that all charges should be dropped because of this, and that we all know that Ron Logan is the real killer. And there have been people that have intentionally put out information to discredit what law enforcement has come to the conclusion of, only because it doesn't fit their narrative.
Mm-hmm. And Carol, I'm not really sure I understand your question. Sunny, why wouldn't all the others heading for the search have seen Mr. and Bloody too? I'm not sure what you mean by that, because it wasn't. Yeah, go ahead, Deb.
No one was searching at the
Right,
time that
no.
he was walking back to his car, right?
It was just
Right, not at 3:38 or 3:47, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Because he was on the up. I mean, she's talking about Derek. He was on the other side. He was over on the trails. He would have.
Yeah,
Bloody
I mean,
300.
the Muddy and Bloody person is when he was heading back to, she was in her vehicle and he was going back to his car and said that she's seen someone that was muddy and bloody. Simple, like that's all we really know from the affidavit. So that was when Richard Allen, if it was Richard Allen, was heading back to the vehicle at the CPS building. Oh, people driving down the main road.
What do you think he was doing for an hour at the current scene?
I find this all seems so weird. I remember how we were talking about this the other day. I said it's just so weird. It's like he was on a freaking marathon, arrived there 20 minutes before, over the bridge, and he's seen by people and blah blah blah. Then he heads back down a road, muddy and bloody. It just doesn't make sense. That even for the stupidest idiot out there, you just can't picture. Like Richard Allen, he's not the dumbest apple out there, I'm sure.
But you know what? It can happen. It could happen. And I tell you why, because after they do the unaliving, I guess they go into like it's almost a lot of the ones that I have spoken to, they always say that it becomes like a blur. And a lot of them say that after the act, sometimes they don't even remember getting home. They don't remember how they got home, what they did, even at the crime scene. They don't remember a lot. And I noticed that a lot of them had said that it becomes like a blur. So I guess it depends on the person. Some of them
Right.
assimilate it and they know exactly what they did, and a lot of them, it has to be. Imagine, especially if you've never done it before and you're dealing with that much blood that you're going to be dealing with.
Right. What if you were fulfilling your fantasy at that point?
I believe that it could happen, that mentally it could happen. And I mean, Deb, I mean, your husband probably can say more to that you can go into kind of like a state, like almost like, like a body
Like
kind of experience.
Almost like a
Euphoria.
catatonic state.
Yes.
Euphoria. Yeah.
Yeah, the euphoria afterwards. If that was your...
and that you don't even realize and that's why they make, and a lot of them, that's why they make those stupid mistakes, because they do that.
Could be.
Brian Koberger, even with dropping the sheath.
Because he got so much into the thing that he made that mistake, and that's how they get caught. Stupid mistakes that they do that because of that.
Tom, I'm not sure if you've ever dug down the other side too. Then you want to go down with the Megan Allen, the 5 guys that went to the bridge with her that day, picked her up, took her to the bridge, and stuff like that. Like that whole storyline. Like for instance, but Derek, Shan, an arguing couple. I don't even know that we actually know that there was an actual arguing couple. Besides things that we've just heard. Now, Derek came from the side of the other side because wasn't he supposed to meet the girls near the other bridge or coming?
Near.
No, he called from when he was crossing the Wilson Bridge.
That's what he was. Right, he called to be something. But
across the mirrors.
But I'm not sure, Tom, if you've ever dived into Tina Rodell and that whole stuff with Megan Allen and stuff like that. If you haven't, go to Reddit, type in the Kokomo crew and everything that Tina Rodell had been talking about around that time of the Delphi. And honestly, it makes your brain explode. It's too much to actually think about who was truly there, who wasn't there. We know Megan Allen, that there's actually text messages between her and her mom from the Monon High Bridge area where she's calling her. But 5 guys picked her up and...
was that the girl that was kind of beaten up? Is that the one?
Yeah,
that one. Yeah,
and we don't know that the people that Tom's like staying there. We don't know that they didn't see something. We just know that the description that was put in the affidavit was that maybe the person in their opinion gave the best description that matched what they wanted the warrant to be used for. Was the person that said muddy and bloody. Maybe maybe the arguing couple or Cheyenne or someone said they saw someone walking on 300, but maybe they didn't see, they didn't specify anything about the muddy or bloody, and therefore they used the other witness in the search warrant affidavit.
Yeah,
because it does say there's a blanket statement in that warrant that says other witnesses. So not every witness is personally identified in the affidavit. Sorry, Deb, did you want to say that?
No.
Oh. Yeah. My brain hurts just even thinking about that stuff. Honestly, it does. Between, Tina Rodell, she was like blah 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 at the start, and then she stopped talking. And honestly, it's a mind F, to be honest with you, Tom. You might as well just wait for trial. Go back to Misty Beavers and probably solve that one faster, to be honest with you, than try to figure out who was actually at the bridge. We do know, though, that there was no witness. Like, there was actually no witness that actually saw anyone, say, with Abby and Libby. Only someone, obviously, that was said that, this person was there on the path. But that's why they, Doug Carter and that will say that there was no witness. Right. Because there's nobody actually that saw that part. They just would have saw a person that says he was fishing or looking at fish while he was looking at a stock fish market or whatever he was doing.
Right.
You know.
And Radar, what if someone did recognize him? What if someone called in a tip 4 months after the girls were unalived, and they gave Richard Allen's name? And what if it was overlooked, and they never even, they didn't come back to it until they came to his name another way, that someone had called it in? We don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing would surprise me.
I was talking about this with Adam too, because don't forget that Richard Allen worked at the CVS in Peru, and that was the training store. So did he meet Keegan Klein by chance that way? Because he did work in Peru at the CVS there. So did they get to know each other by chance? Like through that? It's a possibility. And that's why, again, maybe he never needed an online presence because there really just isn't one. Maybe he has one. You know what pisses me off, you guys, is that they literally took on Intellius, which is the search program I use. Just recently, they took Richard Allen and conjoined him with this guy named Richard Allen Dukes. And they literally put his profile combined now with Richard Allen. Stupid misfits. It's like meaning every time I go there, right, it's a thing. But the thing is, they literally combined someone from California with the last name Dukes into Richard Allen's file.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. Well, see, because those type of reports, regardless of which one you use, is they give you the best to their abilities. So there's lots of times that I'm looking at somebody, but their Facebook doesn't match who it is that it belongs to. They try to do their best, but just recently they literally combined this Richard M. Dukes. So now when you pull up Richard Allen, then you got this Dukes guy that's 57 years old. Richard Allen is 50. And it's just like, really, but those programs, those placings are about 80%. What were you going to say, Adam? What were you laughing at over there?
All right, no, nothing.
Do we know when is his birthday? Richard Allen's birthday? When is it?
Good. 1972, right? No.
No, 77.
Yes.
No, because I'm 69.
No, 72, isn't it?
No, because well, you're right. You're probably right. Because I'm 69.
I'm 48.
He's a Virgo, I think.
The thing is that I normally know, but because they combined that other stupid guy with him, now if I pull him up, it's going to say he's 57 years old. And he's, Virgo. But he's 50 unless he turned 51.
For 50, he looks a little older than 50.
He does. Doesn't he look like, to me, he looks like he's closer to 60, to be honest. 68. Yeah. But
oh, that's funny. When you type in Richard Allen birthday on Google, the first thing that pops up is someone that was born February 14th, 1760.
There we go. Tom Webster's got our back.
Yeah, I knew he was a Virgo.
Carol said Richard Allen is definitely a Cancer.
You like your mush to Carol. Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure, isn't he a Pisces?
You're my girl, Carol.
No, he's a Virgo.
No, I'm teasing because Carol said he's a Cancer, and then Deb's a Pisces, and Alexa's a Capricorn, I believe.
And Stepha's a Gemini.
No.
What are you, Stepha?
Libra.
Yeah, Libra scale.
You're what? September? No,
October 17th.
October.
Yeah, when my birthday was happening is when we found out about Blaine. It was right.
That's right.
Yeah.
The 16th, yeah.
That's right. Absolutely. Nice. Well, I'm a 69 baby. Yeah. Anyways, you guys, let's do let's do final thoughts, and we're at the almost 2.5 hour mark here. I'm sure some of you guys are getting tired of your time.
I am. I'm glad that you ladies let me come on with all of the
I wasn't going to. It's only when Deb said that we love Adam or something like that. I was like,
you know who loves you, who's got your back.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, let's wrap it up, guys, and let's do final thoughts. It is Easter weekend, isn't it? Is some Sunny Bunny honey? Did anyone buy me any chocolate? Alexa? Oh, guess what, Alexa? Guess what holiday is in this weekend?
What is it?
Where's my Christmas present? Where's my
Oh no!
Valentine's present?
Guess what? I am sending it. It hasn't happened. I'm sending it.
Wait, when's Easter?
Adam.
Oh, Sunday.
You'll get it 4th of July.
No.
Mother's Day.
What's our next holiday? Mother's Day. Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
I did
Mother's
say
Day.
Easter, but well,
Yeah, but at this point, it would be a mail bomb.
Shit.
technically, I have until next week because I mean Greek Easter is next week.
Greek Easter.
Oh,
Yeah.
Greek Easter now. Okay.
No, but I'm sending it. I swear. This
Ooh.
hopefully
Yeah.
no, not tomorrow. Saturday. I'll send.
I made chocolate truffles. Yeah, I'm diabetic.
Yum.
I can't have that stuff.
Mm.
Yeah. I want those.
Are you guys doing anything for Easter?
I have
Yeah.
my
Yeah, I'm gonna wing
grandbabies, family and grandbabies coming over. I do a little Easter egg hunt for them. I've got their baskets all put together. And
I miss that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. That's why I
I'm
have
just
all
walking
my.
on water.
well, now that you mention it, yeah, it's fun stuff. I love to see their little excitement. They come.
Oh
they're
yeah.
both
Oh,
two different
where's my phone,
personalities.
Dad?
My grandson
One
will
sec.
run right past me, right through the house to see what he can find immediately. And my granddaughter will jump in my arms and say,
Oh.
Mima, I missed
Oh,
you.
that's so sweet. What I like is that even with my kids, it's even though they're so far beyond their age and they're like they think it's like 9 going on 15.
Mhm.
The excitement still about the Easter bunny that they still believe in the
Mhm.
Easter bunny. I'm just like, oh my, it's like so sweet. They were like, when is the Easter bunny coming? And I'm like, okay. And my husband's like, we're not doing it this year. And I'm like,
Oh, you guys
you're
are
too
all
old. And I'm like, what do you mean no? And I'm like, no, we have to do it. So, so
My-
you should.
But
My daughter was the same way. Like, I had to tell her in 4th grade there wasn't anything.
They are in 4th grade, and all their friends are like, "What do you mean?" It didn't? And
Yeah.
they're like, "No, I swear, my parents were with me, and Santa will go the gifts because we got somebody else to do it for us."
And then my son was like, yeah, I knew in kindergarten. But he just played along, so, you know.
I used to play along for. I thought I'd get more gifts.
Yeah,
So-
that's what he
Yeah.
said. The different
Oh, kind of
personalities.
forgot. Yeah. It's like because we were supposed to go camping, but the weather's crappy, so we're not going to because it's just supposed to rain all weekend. But
Aw.
I actually forgot it was Easter then. So my husband, when he comes home for work, he's like, "Thank God this day's done." And I'm like,
Hmm.
and I said something like, "Yeah, at least you only have one more day." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Well, today's Wednesday." And he's like, "No, it's Thursday." I look at my iPad and I was like, "You're right. Happy 3 days off, honey." Because
Also,
I
he
didn't
has off. Does he have to work on Monday, or they have the day off?
No, just Friday. Good Friday is a holiday. Only if you work for
Oh.
the government, then it's Easter Monday. Yeah.
I almost forgot. Both of my grandkids have a soccer game this weekend, too.
Mm.
It's
Oh.
my granddaughter's first time to play soccer.
Aw.
She's 4, and I asked my daughter, I said, is she any good? And she said she doesn't have a clue why she's out there, but she's really happy
She's
about
doing
it.
it.
That's what my daughter was. She just stood
I
there.
love that.
And you
Oh, they
can never
run behind
tell.
the other way. The ball the other way. Yeah,
Yeah.
almost an audible. Mm.
You can never
Tell
tell
them,
because
go.
yeah, my daughter used to stand in the back of the field and blow, daisies and do cartwheels, and then she ended up playing soccer in college. So you can never tell.
Yeah.
I guess that's why the kids have spring break now out there, eh?
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
Easter. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of schools here are next week, but yeah, public schools at least. Private schools, a lot of them have already had it. But
Yeah. Remember CD said he had his kids home or whatever. And I was totally forgetting, like, meaning I knew Good Friday was coming, but I totally wasn't even associating with Easter. I don't know why. I just totally forgot. But when you don't have kids at home and stuff like that, and you don't have to do anything,
Yeah.
but,
Mhm.
it's kind of like it comes, it goes, and
Yeah.
husband loves chocolate.
For
Yeah,
us,
that's
this is the first time because usually my kids only had the 3 days and they never used to get the week off, only the public schools. They're in a Catholic school. But this year they decided to give the whole week off. So thank God, because that way they can come with me to Canada. So
Yeah.
they'll be
Nice.
visiting me.
Yeah, she's not coming to my side of Canada. She's
No.
That would
going
be a
to
long trip.
I know.
she's going to
no,
the eastern
no.
side of Canada.
Toronto, yeah.
So
Time
how
and I
far
should
away? How far away will she be?
Oh, that
From
would
me?
be.
Yeah.
Or who?
That's like far.
It'd be like us
Oh.
going to Washington.
Like-
Yeah,
or
that's like
Seattle.
5 hours. Yeah.
It would plane ride. It would take basically
Like
about
5
6
hours.
hours.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 6 hours on plane if you were in Ontario, and
Mhm.
coming to BC it would take about 6 hours to get here.
Yeah.
Plane.
Toronto's
on a plane.
literally 45 minutes from New York to Toronto.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
So that's not.
Deb just moved. Hopefully she's
Yeah.
not muted now.
Oh, she is, isn't she? Deb. Can't hear you.
Deb, you're muted.
Can you hear me? She probably. I think she thinks we're joking.
Oh, we can't hear you. We really can't.
Oh, yeah.
She thinks we're joking.
See?
It's his fault. This is just bringing back memories for Deb now. I think she thinks that we're joking. She's still talking. Okay, no, we can hear you really, Deb. Absolutely. That's a great idea. That's yes.
Just let her go, keep going.
Yeah.
On
If you
mute.
don't believe us, believe Tom Webster.
Yeah. Todd said he wants your glasses. And I believe he says that they look like they're lens crafters. Yeah. Yeah. She still thinks we're joking, doesn't she? She does. Yeah. Yeah. It's
I
okay,
have to
Deb.
go to bed, y'all.
We really can't hear her.
She's still talking. Like,
Well, I have to bring, I believe, ketchup chips for somebody.
yeah. You got to buy them. Poor Deb. She literally, I think, just thinks that we were playing a joke on her. I think.
Well, Sonny, that's because you do this to people.
I know.
Remember me that I never then no.
You create doubt in people, and then they don't trust us.
I know. Remember, oh my God. You guys want to hear something so funny? Okay. So, Adam, do you know which story I'm going to tell?
No.
Okay.
Should I?
Okay. So Adam calls me on Messenger. Or no, sorry. Yes, Adam calls me on Messenger. And I say, you have reached my answer machine. I can't come to the okay.
I remember that.
He literally hangs up on Messenger. And so I call him back and I'm like, Adam, what'd you hang up for? And he's like, well, because I got your answering machine. Like, are you kidding? It's Messenger. like, and the only thing was is that I was like, meaning I wasn't even doing a good one. I was just like, you have reached my answering machine. And all of a sudden, click. And I almost, like, seriously, almost peed my pants when he said, well, that's because I reached your answering machine. I thought you were there. Oh, that was probably the best. That was the best. She told Sunny, okay. When Sunny said, we can hear you. She told Sunny, okay, when Sunny said, we can hear you. Poor Deb. Poor Deb. Poor Deb. Poor Deb.
Ooh, Jay Moon, I'm going to come over.
I keep yawning now. Who yawned? Somebody yawned because it's making me yawn.
I gotta go to bed, girl. I gotta get up like in a couple hours.
Are you not going to say goodnight to Deb?
Yeah,
Where's
rude.
Deb, come home. Come
Are you
home.
going? Oh, you're working tomorrow?
Oh, yes.
Oh, God. Oh, but you're working from home. Why do I keep thinking it's
I
Friday?
do work from home. Tomorrow's Friday.
Oh my God, I keep thinking it's Friday today. No, tomorrow's not Saturday. Jesus.
Tomorrow's Friday.
No. Tomorrow's Friday. Yeah.
See, yeah, but I keep thinking today is Friday and tomorrow's Saturday.
Yeah. Anyways,
No,
No.
okay.
we'll say goodbye for you if you really need to go, Stepha. Yeah.
Well, I switched to 10-hour shifts so I can have one day off in the week.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Namaste.
Yeah. No, that's twice now. Wow. I think you
Yeah,
owe me
yeah.
now.
Right, in a
Oh,
week.
God.
I mean, in 2 days.
2 days.
And I'm on camera. Can we write this
And
down?
I
I'm
know.
on camera.
You should always be on camera. You're gorgeous.
Yeah. Hey,
Not the people that aren't shouldn't. But
Then I
No,
have to
you know
wash my hair, put on makeup. You know, the avatar is
That's
so
what-
easy.
Stepha, what I actually noticed is that instead of 3 chins, you only got 2. Have you been?
My chin, is that what you said?
Yeah, I said instead of 3 chins, you only got 2 this time. What happened? I'm losing
No.
something?
I've been losing weight, so hopefully next time I'll only have one.
Yeah. Have you though? In saying that,
What'd you say?
have you? Have you?
Yes, I've lost in the past. I started week 7, so I've had 6 weeks and I've lost 15 pounds.
Nice.
Yeah,
Because you
my
know,
friend said that after the 12th week, that's when you really start to lose weight.
Well, yeah, because the doses we have to go up.
Yeah, to 2.34, something like that, she said.
Yeah, it depends on what you're on. I'm on a compound. I go to compound pharmacy, but some people do like the actual Ozempic. Some do
No,
Wegovy.
Manjaro, I think Manjaro.
That's the best one.
Yeah.
Manjaro kills it, but I'm not diabetic, so I can't get that.
I thought that one was
I'm
not for
diabetic.
you. She's not
What can
diabetic.
I am.
Oh, does she get it? That's awesome. Oh, well, if you can
Can we
buy
see if-
outright, that's like $900 a month.
Deb?
Hey, Deb, do you have audio?
No, she's not. She doesn't have. No.
That's so weird.
I think
Poor Radar. It's called. It's a semaglutide. Semaglutide. It's a medication, or you give it once a week self-injectable.
Oh, is it once a week? I didn't know. I thought it was every day.
Nope, once a week, and it's great. Like you have no appetite. Although I mean, you have to. Some people have side effects. Some people don't. So,
Have you had any side effects? Like my
Oh,
friend was dizzy. I think she said dizzy.
yep, I have side effects. Like I gave my shot this morning, so like I'm kind of nauseated. I'm tired, but not. I mean, the side effects are way low compared to getting healthy and just giving me that
Booster.
the boost. Yes.
I think Tom's on that same diet.
Are you doing that too, Tom? Are you?
Yeah, Tom said he was. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You said no. N-O.
Yeah.
See?
No, that's me putting. No, that was from something else.
Oh, okay.
Tom was just telling us how he used to weigh about 350 pounds, and then he went on that thing that you were just talking about.
No, you didn't.
Yes, he did, and that's how he managed to fit into his reclining chair. That's what he was saying. He said it was too big for his reclining chair. Not
No,
get it
he
down. Yes, he did. Right, Tom. Tom, just agree with me. Shut up, Tom. poor Deb over there. What was I going to say? Oh,
See what Grandma Watch just said.
what? Deb,
Hero.
yeah, we were limited on talking. No,
Love
Tom,
Deb. I love Deb.
Denial. Stepha, the reason why I asked, I was just joking, first of all, but when you first came on the live, I remember seeing you last time, but for me, when I lose weight, I lose it in my face first, actually. But anyways, I could see that your face seemed more slender to me for some reason.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I started in August and I had lost altogether, I think I've lost 32 pounds since August, but the past 6 weeks was double than what I was losing. You know what I mean? Like, because I lost today was 15 pounds. So I lost 17 pounds from August till I started this 6 weeks ago. So it was
yeah. Shit. No.
That's so weird.
No. Good night, Deb. Good night. Poor thing.
Now Deb's got Stephanie disease where you can't.
Huh.
No, I couldn't hear. Y'all could hear me.
Did you not pay your internet bill? Yeah. Did you only pay half of it?
Past midnight.
Yeah. It's okay, Deb. Good night. Poor thing.
He said go.
Poor Deb. She's having. Did you do a Stepha thing?
But wasn't she talking before? I mean, she was fine.
Yeah, that's so weird. I'm looking on our end. I can't do anything with her mic. Her mic and everything is fine on our end.
Check your mic source.
Yeah.
Old wise grasshopper down there says, check your mic source. Can she hear us? But she can't hear us, but we just can't hear her.
Deb can hear us.
And yes, Vertigo, you exercise and eat well. It just makes you not hungry. That's all it does.
Oh,
Are you exercising?
Huh?
Are you exercising?
Well, I bought I got 2 gym memberships, and I bought my exercise ball. I haven't done crap this past 6 weeks. I've got to get my butt to the gym because otherwise,
Imagine, yeah, if
I'm
you're
gonna be
losing weight
so
like that,
flabby.
imagine if you exercise.
I know what I got to do. I've just been bad. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go tomorrow. And then it's like, oh, I'll start on Monday. It's always like, oh, I'll do it on Monday. Nope.
Tom, you
Ooh,
wish,
gym
buddy.
membership.
Smart ass. It's better than being a dumbass, I guess. Todd or Tom. I said Todd.
Right.
Do you see what Tom said? He said, "Too bad Sonny never has this audio problem."
Nope.
Deb, the reason you were saying that is because I'm like when you were muted, I was going in and trying to adjust your mic things, but everything was fine on our end.
Yeah.
Sometimes just muting and unmuting someone can trigger it to like work, but I did it a number of times. Everything was fine.
Yeah. Poor Deb.
Yeah.
Right now when she doesn't have her camera on, you guys, full well that she's like punching her iPad or whatever, because how many times, like, members Deb never had any issues. Yeah. Actually, I'm amazed that yours is doing well tonight, Alexza, because you've been having some internet issues yourself over there. It's frustrating, isn't it?
Yep. Well, I actually called and complained, but yeah. And they have to come and change something, but
they're saying you are the problem, Deb.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure it has to do with the Bluetooth. That so.
I think so too. But yeah, Deb obviously used up all her talk time. Sorry, guys. Thanks, Deb. Anyways, Stepha, you get going. You have to, like I said, need to get off. And again, thank you, beautiful, for joining us tonight. And yeah, we're gonna head off too. So when Deb tries to get back on, we're not gonna be here. Okay?
You'll be gone. And chat, so good seeing all my
Deb's like, screw you all. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I love my fams. You guys are awesome.
Hear her? No. Is she?
No.
Just pretend we're in Love Actually. Hold up like.
I love that movie. I'm never gonna get off here. I'm gonna keep with the conversation. Okay, I really am leaving. Love you guys.
Okay. Good night, you guys. You guys thank you guys so much for joining us tonight.
Right. And I'm gonna say good night for Deb. Deb says good night, everyone.
Hi.
Bye. Have a good night. Take care.